Happy morning to one and all present here. Welcome to one-day seminar on bank branch audit, challenges, practical issues and audit automation. May I now request SIRC Chairperson, CA Aboutus, to escort the first session speaker, CA Veeramani P.M from Ernakulam to the dais, please. A big round of applause. We will start today's proceedings with the invocation of ICA motto. Let us all rise for ICA motto as a mark of respect to our mother institute.
यशस्सुप्तेषु जाग्रति यशस्सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदु नात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता
Thank you. Please be seated. May I now request SIRC Chairperson, CA Aboutus, to deliver a welcome address and also introduce Veeramani to the August gathering.
Happy morning, one and all present here. On behalf of SIRC of ICA, we welcome you all to today's one-day seminar on bank branch audit, specifically challenges, practical issues, and audit automation. As we all know that last month, that is February 22nd, the committee at SIRC has changed over. So after that, within this month, exactly 1 month, today it has become 1 month, the new committee. So this new month, we have done the program, organized the programs mainly related to bank audit, because this March month is specifically most of the members also they will be concentrating focused on bank audit. So we have conducted a one-day seminar on 16 on bank audit. It has covered full areas which is very much relevant to bank audit. And other than that, we thought of having some practical classes, that is, which is relevant to bank audits, that is on concurrent audit and stock audit, and how to area specific. So we have conducted a series wise 3 days workshop we have done, and yesterday it got over. And today is a specific area on bank branch audit, challenges, practical issues and audit automation, because audit automation is also very much important, we need to look into. So we thought of having it on one day and covering all other aspects which was not fully covered on the one day seminar. And apart from this, we have conducted one women's conference on March 8th. So all the programs so far we have conducted are well appreciated and received by the members. I wish to continue the same cooperation for the entire year, and I request the members, whatever the topics, if you are interested in what you expect from the ICSIRC, please write to us. If any specific areas which you need to cover, that also definitely we will take care of. So before handing over the session to our today's speaker, the first session speaker is with us. He has come all the way from Ernakulam, CA Veeramani sir. Sir, wholeheartedly we welcome you to today's session, sir. Before handing over the session to the speaker, I would like to briefly introduce him. CA Veeramani sir is a young at heart, 64 years and senior partner in RGN Price and Co. Firm its 76th years of in profession. He has vast experience in bank audits, by way of as a central auditor of PSUs, private sector and foreign bank, sole auditor in the case of private sector and foreign bank. Niche areas handled in PSU banks, consolidation, treasury, advances and inter-office accounts. His special areas handled at banks are merger of State Bank of Saurashtra, State Bank of Indore with SBI, merger of Andhra Bank and Corporation Bank with the Union Bank of India, foreign investor agreements, IFRS certification, IPO certification and ETS compliance for private bank acquisitions by foreign investor, certifications for rights, GDR issue for banks, due diligence reviews of large borrowers for banks, and he has enough experience in management advisory services and advising promoters in the constitution of the business entities, finance, internal control based on type of businesses. Clients from industrial sector includes automobiles, software, logistics, shipping, infrastructure, builders and real estate. And he has vast experience in taxation services too. Maybe of representation before various income tax authorities in respect of corporates, non-corporates, trusts, charitable institutions, individuals in connection with assessment and database, representation before ITAT benches at Cochin, Chennai and Bangalore, representation before Commissioner Appeals and SESTAT for service tax cases, and his other areas of interest are regular paper presenter on income tax, bank audit, service tax and GST at branches of ICAI and other professional bodies. He has authored an e-book of Central Audit of Banks Beyond a True and Fair View published in SARC website in January 22. He has written an article on bank branch audit published in ICAI in March 2022, and he has guest faculty at MAM KABS, seminars conducted by RBI for banks, guest faculty at staff training college for PSUs and private sector banks for higher level executives. He has been writing a column, Judicial Decisions in Ernakulam branch magazine of ICI since 2005, covering direct taxes. So apart from this, he is involved in other activities as a president of Cochin Chamber of Commerce and Industries, which is in its 165th year, and he is a treasurer in Kerala Fine Arts Society and founder trustee at Ernakulam Cricket Club Foundation. It's a non-profit organization, and he is a convener of Finance Committee in the conduct of 10 one-day international cricket matches at Kochi. So during this brief introduction, we hand over the session to other speaker. Before handing the session speaker, I recognize the presence of Central Council member, CASC Priya Kumar. Thank you. I request our Central Council member to come on to the dais. I request CC Sri Priya Kumar to adorn a shawl to our speaker.
Requesting Chairperson again Vinita to present him with the health bouquet. So please join us. Over to the speaker, Veeramani sir.
So here's a very hearty good morning to all of you. To Veeramani sir, the speaker for the day. The other speakers were also very eminent. Vinodh Kothari, CA S Ramesh, CA Ratnagiri, all the way from Sivakasi. So very hearty welcome to all the faculty for the day. And here's a very hearty good morning to all of you. In fact, a lot was said about Veeramani sir's profile, but I should just add one small personal quip. I think he's easily one of the most respected bank central statutory auditors. Most respected, and this is not based on what Veeramani sir has told me. I think this is based on what the banks in the little that I've communicated have spoken. And I think if Veeramani sir says something is right, it's right. If it's not right, it's not right. So in that sense, I think it's very, very nice that he's come as a speaker. And when you hear him speak, you will understand that he's never grey. He'll say yes is a yes and a no is a no. And the ability to stand up to those in power is a priceless quality. And I think that's what he exemplifies for me. I happen to know his partner much, much better. So as regards the context of bank audit, I think this year will definitely be special, because you see the whole landscape of this perception of audit has changed. Audit is about an examination of books and records with a view to expressing an opinion. What's the opinion that you express? True and fair. What does true and fair mean? It means only two things. It means your financial statements are prepared in accordance with an applicable reporting framework, which in the case of a bank branch, the framework as prescribed by RBI, the Schedule 1, Schedule 2, BSPL, certificates, etc. The second is that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. So that's what audit was always intended to be. But today, what's the perception? The perception is that an auditor saying something is right means everything is correct. Now we can debate, is that perception right, wrong, but you can't change it. It's like judgments happening on social media even before the judgment is getting really delivered. So I think it's important. I'm not saying we should be scared, but I think we should be skeptical. Munadiyala, we used to trust and verify. That was what was audit. Today it's changed to verify and trust. And I'm sure he'll get into the specifics, but what do I see as a risk with bank branch audit? It's that there are only two components, right? One is your advances and other is your deposits. The most important thing in your advances is whether those advances are genuine, whether they represent an underlying relevant advance. So if somebody gives money to buy a machinery and somebody buys something else, that's not the business of the bank. The business of the bank is to do business lending. Unless of course you have a jewel loan, a gold loan, a personal loan. Those are different things. The second most important thing, so for that context I'm sure Veeramani sir will walk you through how do you establish whether a loan is genuine. What do you do when a loan is not genuine but it is still performing? Is it allowed? I don't think so. It may not impact your NPA, but it affects the very substratum of the branch banking. The second is of course the deposits. Today, even in the case of the electoral bonds and stuff like this, they are talking about some company called Hub Power from elsewhere and all that. So people are wondering, as regards deposits are concerned, what comes into the bank? The entire nation is very clear, it has to be clean money that comes into your banking channel. How do you ensure that clean money comes into the banking channel? It's through a system of your KYC checks. So this is about, so if I were to talk about two things, it's just this. And I'm going to end this small impromptu speech of mine with a very small additional note. Audit is about an opinion. An opinion is based on evidence. How do you collect evidence? All your methods, inquiry, observation, confirmation and all that. Where does this evidence sit in? It sits in documentation. So what is most important in the context of a bank branch audit is how do you document your work? In fact, of late even Nafra, everybody's been saying the same thing. Work not documented is work not done. And today you see a very divided market. There are a set of firms which do some work and a lot of documentation. Whereas most of us, and I would like to include myself in this, we do a lot of work but we don't document adequately. And what is the relevance of documentation? See, if everything is fine, hunky-dory, there's no problem. But tomorrow if there is a challenge, what do you as an auditor have to demonstrate? Diligence. What is the opposite of diligence? Negligence. So it's like a coin. You have diligence on one side, negligence on the other side, and that thin rim that you have is the working paper, which is your audit documentation. So this is pretty much it, and once again, here's a very, very warm and a very, very hearty welcome to all of you to this program, and wish more of you would come in the front so that the speaker will feel nice. Thank you very much.
ஆஃப் பண்ணிடலாம் சார், ஆஃப் பண்ணிடலாம்.
So the council members, Sri Priya, Chairperson Geeta Madam, my dear friends. Frankly, I never expected Sri Priya to be here today especially because yesterday she was in Cochin and I had already, you didn't come. Oh, I didn't miss you, okay, because I was traveling. So I thought I had missed you here because I was feeling a little bad that, coming to our place and then I couldn't meet you because myself and my good friend Dhananjay Gokhale was also there yesterday. I'll tell a little more about Dhananjay Gokhale as the session goes, how my association with him and how he's connected with the bank audits. So I was also feeling a little bad that I missed you yesterday. I'm so happy that you are here and thank you for the nice words of introduction. And sometimes when you sit back and see and you hear it from a person like you who would have been interacting with others also, it's nice that what you built up over a period of time is getting reflected. Thanks so much for the nice words. It is not that I have been doing anything special, but maybe I was trying to do something differently, that is all. நான் காலமே வரும்போது கொஞ்சம் ஏர்லியராகவே வந்துட்டேன். அப்போ என்ன இந்த குரூப்பில் நிறைய பேருக்கு எனக்கு தெரியாது. அப்போ அங்கே வரும்போது அங்கே பேசிகிட்டு இருந்தது கேட்டேன்னா, பேங்க் ஆடிட்டில் இனிமேல் என்னத்தை தான் புதுசாக பேச போகிறாரு அவர், கேரளாலேருந்து வராரு, இவர் என்ன பேச போகிறாரு தெரியலையே.
தமிழ் பேசுறீங்க சார்,
ரெண்டு இந்த பேங்க் ஆடிட்லேயே இதில் என்ன நடக்கிறதுனாக்கா, புதுசாக பேசலைன்னாலும் நீங்கள் கதை பார்த்தாங்கனாக்கா பேங்க் ஆடிட்டில் புதுசாக எதுவும் பேச முடியாது. தங்கப்பதக்கத்துலேருந்து ஜெயிலர் வரைக்கும் பார்த்தோன்னா கதை ஒன்றே தான். பட் அது எப்படி சொல்கிறாங்கங்கிறது தான் வித்தியாசமானது. That is the only difference. That is what I am trying to do. Right? Now when I looked at these sessions here also, what I found was that, out of the 4 sessions, 2 are on automation, 1 is on specifically on Iraq, and the one which I am going to handle is the most general one. So what I would be covering would be a general nature, what my experiences have been. It is more out of my experiences while I have been doing central audits and how I have been doing it. And why generally people ask, why should a central auditor be speaking all the time in a branch audit seminar? There are a lot of branch auditors who are well experienced in branch audit. Why should central auditor be speaking? அதுக்கும் நான் என்ன சொல்லுவேன்னா, ஒரு முறைன்னு ஒன்று இருக்கு இல்லையா, இங்கே வரத்துக்கு முன்னால் we have attended 2 meetings of SSMs because we are auditors for 2 banks, 1 meeting of the RBI and 1 meeting of the audit committee of the board. நம்ம சினிமாவில் சொல்ல மாதிரி சொன்னாக்கா 4 நாளாக வச்சு செஞ்சு தான் நீங்கள் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்காங்க. அதில் வேற என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னாக்கா, ஆடிட்னு ஜெனரலாக சொல்லிவிடுவாங்க. வரும்போது கொஞ்சம் பிரான்ச் ஆடிட்டில் வரும். சரி, பிரான்ச் ஆடிட்டை பற்றி நீங்கள் பிரான்ச் ஆடிட்டர்ஸ்லேயே பேசுங்களேன், ஏன் எங்கள்கிட்ட சொல்கிறேன்னா, இல்லை நீங்கள்லாம் பிரதர்ஸ், நீங்கள் போய் சொன்னால் போதும். So that is the reason why it comes through us and then we need to talk to you. There is a general feeling generally that, central audit and the bank branch audit are something different. Branch auditors do something, central auditors do something else. Maybe it would have been that way for quite some time, but post 2020, especially after COVID and all came and technology also took over, we also learned to understand that it is not necessary to go to the branch or the bank to do an audit. because I was one among the first person who was selected by the institute to talk to the members on 16th April 2020 that we should be doing the branch audit remotely. So that way, if you look at it, things have changed quite a lot. We rely more on automation, but at the same time, what is happening in the last 2 years, what we have been seeing is that certain elementary matters have been missed out. Generally, if you look at our audit planning and other things, what Mahesh always used to keep driving onto our head is that learn the client, learn the client's business, learn the risk profile of the client before you actually plan the audit. So looking at that, if you look at today banking, what we understood the original concept of banking, of receiving deposits of lending money, is no longer there. I don't say it is no longer there, it is only one of the activities of banking today. When I started my career in 83, 84 and all, going for the branch audits, I've done a lot of branch audits before I moved into Central. Even now I go and sit in branch audits also. You could go at 3 o'clock, maybe people of my age, if they are in the branch audits who are still around, you will know. We used to go only around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because that is the only time when you get the ledger. Because morning time the ledger would be in the table, which the customer would be handling. It will be the manual ledger. So after 3 o'clock you sit till about 8 o'clock. And you discuss with the check passing officer and your manager or the agent, as they used to call it. You would know virtually everything around the branch. But things have changed today. Things have changed today to the extent that, you know, somebody sitting in Delhi and putting cash into your account here, your account in Chennai will get credited. That is the way technology has changed today. So I would begin by what the president of the institute has to say about what is the current scenario of bank. That's like I think it goes well with what I was saying. Technology also fails, and we have to go back to your paper. Yes.
This is Ramadi.
Right. இதுதான் யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். நான் திருப்பி வச்சேன். சாரி. ஓகே. Right? See, look, what the President has to say in the latest edition of the guidance note on banks. He says it is not only about lending and accepting deposits and lending advances. It goes into very many aspects like online payment, mobile application, and what else? Selling insurance, selling deposits, selling mutual funds, everything under the sun. And today the security threats is not only on the cyber security and so many other matters, operations, etc., which is more centralized. So we need to understand what bank is all about today before we actually move into a branch audit. As I said earlier, in 2020, RBI changed the entire scenario of the bank audits, and by changing the objectives and defining the objectives of what the central auditor is expected to do and what the branch auditor is expected to do. And what are the central auditors subject to do? In the branch audit, they have said, see, underline the word transaction testing. Transaction testing is now left to the branches. Central audit, at central audit level, you are expected to do something else. The transaction audit is to be done at the branch level, and it is not that it is just left there. It actually supplements the central auditor to compile the final report on the risk assessments. So this is what and most important thing is, and if you would find that as we go along, you would find the observations of the Reserve Bank of India on the annual review, you will find that this is how they are looking at the bank audits today. The overall objective is to have a transaction testing and provide inputs to the statutory auditor. Thus, the central statutory auditor is expected to go through every one of the branch audit reports and take inputs from there. And this is where the institute comes into the picture and says, if the branch statutory audit report do not support you, you need to do the extensive checking and then you come to the conclusions. That also I will cover as we go along. Why this branch audit is all the more important today. So systems, assurance, functions, risk management, etc. And when you look at the this one, verification of the data integrity, this is again becoming very, very important. This will be my topic of discussion today, because today the entire discussion in the bank audit is on the data integrity and data related control systems there. It is not on technology. I will never be talking about, because there are others who are dealing in technology matters. I will look at the fundamental conventional way of audit which we are used to doing all these years. Now when it comes to the whole bank audit, they say the overall objective should be to identify and assess the gaps and vulnerable areas, and we are expected to talk about the operational risk, market risk, credit risk. And if you look at the entire, if you happen to look at the LFAR, which we all thought that it is only something to be appended to the audit report, is becoming far more important, or has become far more important. And RBI spends more time reading the LFAR than the balance sheet itself, because balance sheet is a structured format. So the auditor, the central auditor who is supposed to compile the LFAR, has got the most onerous assignment of compiling all these areas. In fact, he may not be actually covering all these areas, but he needs to bring it out. And they have said, one of the points which they had said when they introduced in 2020 this revised LFAR is that it can no longer be your yes, no, thank you, nil. That is one thing which RBI wanted the message to go across to the auditors as a whole, whether it is central auditor or a branch auditor. They need descriptive answers, and you will understand why I am saying it is why they need descriptive answers for all this. Because, and not only, as Sripriya has rightly said, it is not only about advances. Advances is only one portion of the entire branch audit today. There are so many other areas which needs to be given importance to, and which generally are taken care of only as a matter of routine, and then before conclusion of audit you may spend half a day or one day in doing it, but it is not so. There are very many areas which needs to be gone into in detail, because there are throwing up problems in many cases in the case of banks and when we finalize the audit reports. And and today, earlier we used to have the annual financial inspection by the bank, by the RBI after the year end. Now that has gone away. It is now a concurrent way. They are looking at what they call it as risk assessment review, and they call it as, and the report that comes out of it is called the risk mitigation policy. So the entire gamut of bank now, the way RBI looks at it is the risk. How far the bank is at risk. And risk, they again divide it into operational risk, credit risk, and whatever other risk they are talking about, they do. And this is the risk assessment review which they are trying to do. And how they do it is on the regular reports that are getting updated by the branches. And in addition to that, we have the structured supervisory mechanism of one team of RBI, depending on which the type of the bank is. If it is a smaller bank, probably it would be led by a DGM and 2 AGMs and few others. And if it is a bigger bank like State Bank or Union Bank, etc., it would be led by even by a general manager or a CGM, where they interact with the central auditors. That is where we get really grilled. We get really grilled there, I am telling you. It is real grilling takes place. And earlier it used to be after the year end. Now they have started coming before the year end. We have had meetings both because we are auditors in Karur Vysya Bank as well as the State Bank of India. Both places we have had the meetings done, and they have said, we know that you are now going into the final audit. These are the areas of our concern. It is not just the balance sheet that we are looking at. These are the areas of our concern. Kindly have it covered either directly through you or through the branch auditors. So it has come to a stage when a post-audit has become pre-audit itself. The regulator is coming and advising you. While on the one side we can be happy that you get to know in advance what is expected of us. The other side is that you will find that there are many areas where it may not be beyond our normal audit, what we conceptualize as audit. So this is the way it has changed today. And this is another one which is bothering everybody today. Post 2023-24, because we all know that the number of branches which are coming under audit has been going down every year. It was 95 some 3-4 years before, it has come down to 70 last year. And last year 6/3/2023, the circular said from 1/4/2023, that is for the year ended 31/3/2024, the banks will be free to decide based on a policy about the coverage of the branch audits to be done. It is entirely up to the bank's audit committee and the board. And we all raised a hue and cry saying that, and the most important thing why the institute raised a hue and cry is that up to 31/3/2023, even though the percentage was 90 or 80, etc., there was one sentence which said the audit committee of the bank, in consultation with the central statutory auditors, arrive at the branch coverage, which are all the branches to be covered, areas geographically or otherwise, or the business type of businesses, etc., to be covered. From 1/4/2023, that words were removed. In consultation with the central auditors have been removed. So it is entirely up to the bank's board or the audit committee to decide what should be the coverage. And this is the first year we are going to see it. And everybody felt that bank will bring it down to reduce the number of branch audits. Now they will because as in the case of private sector banks, public sector bank also may go away or give away the branch audits, and branch audits may become a nullity. It is not to be. Today it is slowly changing. The 70% is not coming down. The same 70% is still going to be there. In fact, the CFOs have started worrying now. Bank CFOs have started worrying. If you remove branch audits like this, how are the central auditors, as for first central auditors was only one side, from the bank side, how the CFO or the chief security officer is going to give an assurance that everything is in order. Whether it is a nil report, clean report, qualified report, there was something in place to fall back upon. And now you say it is going to be left to the audit committee, and audit committee says we are going to reduce the branch audit. The CFO is at bigger risk, and it is they who are fighting for the branch audits today. In fact, in the last meeting 2 days before in State Bank of India, the finance director said they have added 2 more criteria for selection of the branch audits, and that is why the State Bank of India, the number of branch audits have gone up this time. Number of branches of audit. 2 criteria which are brought in as, irrespective of the quantum, any branch where a fraud is reported, it will be covered by the branch audit. 2, where the number of customer complaints are on the rise, that would also be covered by the branch audit. You would understand, you would think that what customer complaints is to do about, but customer complaints can be about anything. Can be about loans, deposit, advances, anything. But customer complaints is also now has become a parameter for selection of branch audit. So it is not that the branch audit is going away, it is only that the facet is changing now, and we need to understand the changing facet as it happens today. And generally there are arguments on both sides. Banks say that, as the private banks say today, that it is no longer required, even which is again said by the public, because banks have invested heavily into the public, into the technology side. They say it is not required, branch audit may not be required. Now let us just look at what are all the arguments what are all the arguments, both on one side, in favor by the bank, and what is it that we also have to got to see. Bank's justification, they say large scale automation in most of the areas, loan processing, IRAC compliance, capital adequacy computation, results, etc., which is available at the supervisory level. They say it is everything is available at the central level now. It is no longer, you don't have to go at the branch level to find out anything. Even many of these cases, the data is available. So why do you need a branch audit at all? Second, as I said, type of reports can be several exceptional reports that can be made available now. Several exception reports. I would also cover that in my presentation as we go along. Several type of exception reports. It is not necessary that you have to go in and find out what it is there. It is only that you should know what report you should take out of the system, and then it is readily available. And lastly, significant changes in retail banking. Retail banking is not what we thought of. Retail banking has completely undergone a change today in the last 3 years, especially after the digital transformation that we have been seeing post-COVID. Today, one of the things, just off the record, I am saying what we have been experiencing. We have all been saying the bank's profits have been going up, bank's CASA has been going up. People have been wondering why this is going up, because economically we don't feel that something great is happening or the GDP has grown. How is it that the loans, the NPAs have come down, especially the smaller NPAs have come down? I'll just tell you an example, because we are auditors for Karur Vysya Bank. So once I was last year or so, when I was traveling from Coimbatore, I took the flight to Coimbatore. From Coimbatore, I was traveling by road to Karur. So somewhere interior, I stopped to have a tender competent, and after that I just found in the purse I didn't have the change. So immediately that lady took out the QR code and said, "Sir, mobile vandana pannidunga sir." So surprisingly, I also felt at this stage, and how could she be handling? So I just got talking to her. Asked her, "Enama, unakku idu useful ah irukana?" "Sir, idu vandapra na paduthu thoongren sir." ஏமா கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுறேன் சார். முந்தியெல்லாம் வித்துட்டு இருந்தானே கேஷ் வரும், கேஷ் கல்லால் போட்டால் ஈவினிங் ஹஸ்பண்ட் எடுத்துட்டு போய் குடிச்சிடுவாரு. இது ஏதோ கொஞ்சம் அவர் குடிக்கிறதுக்காக கொஞ்சம் கேஷ் வச்சுப்பேன், மீதியெல்லாம் இதுலேயே வந்துடும். மார்னிங் 6 மணிக்கு டெலிவரி வரும், கேஷ் கொடுக்கணும். இங்கே இருக்கிற பையன் கவுண்ட் பண்ணிட்டு சொல்லுவான், அம்மா இவ்வளோ பைசா கொடுக்கணும்னா நான் வீட்டிலேருந்தே பைசா அனுப்பிச்சிடுவேன். வாங்கின பைசா அதில் இருக்கும், அவங்களுக்கு கொடுக்க வேண்டிய பைசா கொடுத்தானாக்கா மீதி பேங்க்லேயே இருக்கும். எப்போவுமே என் பேங்க்ல பைசா இருந்தது கிடையாது, இப்போ எப்போவுமே 10,000 ரூபாயில கீழே குறைஞ்சதே கிடையாது. So that is the level to which this QR code and your UPI transactions have taken the people to. People do not run to borrowers, especially smaller borrowers, do not run on the due date to find out cash to remit. It is there in the bank account, it is there in the SB account. I have seen it virtually, and this is one of the reasons why these NPAs have been going down, especially at the lower level. Banks' NIMs have gone up today. People are not worried about the interest rates today. Interest rates margin are up. Banks are doing well. Your CASA is not at all a problem today. It's a problem of over deposit today, because especially if you see the amounts in Jan Dhan accounts and all, direct benefit transfer and all, you will find a lot of money is sitting in the bank. So this has completely changed the scenario in the last 2 years. Maybe this is the good fallout of the COVID what we had, but this is in reality what is happening today. So in the light of that, we need to understand the retail borrowing, and before that, let us see what has happened to the large scale borrowing. Before we get into the large scale borrowing, I'll just share with you that as the member of the Cochin Chamber of Commerce, I had an opportunity to appear before the Joint Parliamentary Committee that was inquiring into the rising NPAs in banks. Not now, a few years before, immediately after Kingfisher or your Chorus and other things came. And Mehul Chokshi of course was there. So there were about 5 bankers, and because as a representative of the Chamber of Commerce, I could freely talk, not as a chartered accountant, I could talk otherwise. And one of the points I said is that one of the reasons why this NPAs have gone up is that the banks did not have the courage to say no to a lender. And they have been lending without even assessing the borrower's criteria or borrower's eligibility to conduct this business. And I specifically took out 4 examples. One was the case of Kingfisher. Kingfisher was not a case where he has diverted any money. It is a business which he did not know, he ventured into, and then he failed. And the exposure was very heavy on 2 banks. And the banks which had taken the exposure had taken the hit. So it was a case where the banks did not have the courage to say no. 2 was the case of Birla, where they went and took over an aluminium unit in Canada without actually assessing the performance there, and it had turned NPA. It was not a case of credibility of the Birlas. It was a case of bad assessment and the banks not able to say no. 3, Chorus investment by Tatas in England. That also failed because the Tatas failed to do the study there, did not understand the systems there, and it was not a conducive place where they should have invested. And 4th was the Deccan Holding. Deccan Holdings case was that they were on to the setting up a bookstall in malls, and they were taking properties on rent in all the malls, paying very heavy rent. And that was the time when e-books started coming, like Kindle and other things started coming. They failed to understand the impact, as a result of which buying books, even I too carry a Kindle today, it is very easy for me to read the books, any book I want, at 1/4 of the cost. So these are all the cases where the banks failed to assess what the people wanted or what the lender wanted, whether his competence to do the business. That is the reason for raising NPAs. And the most important thing what I said was that the managing director or the chairman of a bank is outside the disciplinary system of the bank. Because a chairman or a managing director of a public sector bank is not appointed by the bank, but is appointed under a special statute by the President of India, and only President of India can remove the managing director or the chairman of the bank. This was taken by surprise. Some of the joint secretaries said, yes sir, this is a fact, and that report went right up to the parliament, and we see some of the changes coming after that. I am told that is as a result of it, though they will never acknowledge that, a chartered accountant or a president's chamber of president came and gave us this idea. They will never accept this. But I was told by some of the people who were in the committee, but that's something which I liked in the politicians also, because the people in the joint parliamentary committee were all opposition leaders, and when I made this presentation, it had 2 committee members, one from DMK and one was from CPM, and the way they talked was completely different. It is not. In fact, I went and spoke to one of the DMK person and said, "Sir, you made a person na ketrike inge person different arge. Sir, adu vote kaga, idu MP ah." So they also know what they have to talk, how they have to talk. And recently, the second committee where we had was the 43BH, where Mr. Tiruchi Shiva was the chairman of the joint parliamentary committee. So he was surprised because I introduced myself, Veeramani from Cochin Chamber of Commerce. Everybody paatharu. Meeting mudichona kettaru. Illa enakku konjam surprise aayirudhu. Veeramani nu peru Kerala la pesra neenga enga irundharu. Illa sir, na Kerala da porandhu valandhu ella Kerala da, Tamil pesren avladha. And I tried to explain to him about 43BH. He said, "Sir, this point has not been brought out by anybody. That is why you are landing in problem today." Today, I have made representations on behalf of various associations that 43BH is a premature one. Premature, I would not say it is a bad law. It is a premature one where a lot of homework has not been gone in. So that would be different, but these are all, why I am saying is, like me, many others would have been there, because if you look at, when I know that, especially in the case of the writing of this, each year the guidance note, I know how many chartered accountants are behind this, how many efforts have gone behind that, into that making. You would find some of these are as a result of which. Now look at this. Why I said this? If I tell you that, you would understand, it would be easier to understand today what is happening today in the case of large advances. Today, no banks can take big advances all by themselves, 10,000, 15,000 crores and all. They cannot do by themselves without letting others know. If it is a more than 5 crore, this one, even if the slightest irregularity, even if a bill is not paid by one day, it goes into CRILIC reporting. And CRILIC is easily accessible to all the banks today. Any branch, any bank, any advances over 5 crore, any irregularity, even if it is one day, it will get reported in CRILIC. Even if it is regularized, it will come into CRILIC and go out of CRILIC. So any point of time, it has become so very transparent. Prudential Framework of Stressed Assets, 7th June 2019 circular. Very, very stringent circular. The day, if a term loan falls into SMA 0, SMA 0 means it is not paid on the due date. And if it is an advance above 1,500 crore, immediately the bank has to go for a resolution plan. The next day they have to start initiating. The day it goes into SMA 0, you don't wait for SMA 1, 2 or NPA. Same way in the case of cash credit, there is no SMA 0, it will straight away come into SMA 1 only. If it is only a cash credit account, the day it falls into SMA 1, they have to initiate action. If it is an advance about 1,500 crore, resolution plan has to come. And once a resolution plan comes, every bank gets into the picture, whether it is a multiple banking arrangement or a consortium arrangement. So it is no longer possible for one bank to keep hiding it. And the last, large exposure framework. This is where I said, no bank can lend to any one person 10% more than their tier 1 capital. So the moment it goes into that large exposure framework, it becomes public. You have to take the exposure to the entire banking industry, and every bank which gives to that component will have to make a provision. So today it is not possible. So that way, if you look at it, the last borrower network, this is what I said, it is falling out of those days when Chorus and Tata and Kingfisher, where one bank or two banks took all the exposure. From there, see how the scenario has changed today. Today it is no longer possible for any bank to keep it under their carpet and not let anybody know. The entire banking industry will know. These are all very transparent reporting, and this has come out of that today. So large exposure framework. And all these large advances are always parked in the top 20 branches, which is always covered by the CSA. That is one of the reasons why they say the branch audit may not be required, because if you take the top 20 branches, it almost covers about 43 to 45% of the most of the banks. Most of the banks, the top 20 branches, it will cover. This one, and there is some element of personal interest in this. The top 20 branches will have the maximum advances, where the central statutory auditors also get the fees from the branch audit only. It is not that central auditor doesn't get a fees for consolidation and all, is very, very minimal. Main fees which comes to us is from the top 20 branches, the 3 branches or 2 branches what we do. So always it is centered around there. So this comes under that. So they say that most of the big branches are covered under that. Now, when you move into the retail scenario is also completely changed from what we have understood. Pool accounts is something which Mahesh will remember in 95, 96 and all, when we did Citibank audit, it was called securitization at that time. The bank would not even show me the securitization document. They took me to the seller and said, you can read it from there and you can make a note in pencil, you can't even carry a pen. That was the secrecy of the document in securitization. Today, pool account is an open buyout, and it changes the entire concept of banking what we have understood. It is without recourse to the borrower. So normally NBFC gives the loans to the individuals either for gold loans or against buying of assets, etc. And an entire pool is taken out by that NBFC and purchased by the bank, and it funds the NBFC, right? And the condition is that before even selecting of that pool which is to be purchased, there is a due diligence. It has to be only those accounts where there is no default, and only that type of this one is there. That type of can be selected and taken for funding. And the moment it becomes a substandard asset, they have to replace that borrower with another borrower and make it a standard asset. See the concept today. And in this case of pool buyouts, IRAC norms are delayed by 1 month. Because the entire records are maintained by the NBFC and given to the bank only the next month. So to this month's collection, they can make it. They make it the individual and then all the collections, and they give it to the bank, say these are all the monies which you have collected, based on which bank will individually post it. And if one of the account has become NPA there, they would know it only the next month. So the entire IRAC norms is delayed by 1 month. This is accepted practice today, which we can't even think of when the IRAC norms were introduced. But the most important point is that it may not wait till that to happen, because the day it becomes substandard asset itself, the bank would say that please substitute the borrower. And here the concept is that you don't know, you have not seen the borrower, you don't have the documents or you have the borrower, you have only NBFC as the borrower. This is what I said, without recourse to the borrower. This is one of the major changes which most of the banks are doing. Unless you understand what is pool account and how it is this one, you would not be able to do the audit at all. And you have to understand the concept that if the bank has funded or purchased a pool account, the IRAC norms itself is delayed by 1 month. These are all accepted principles by the RBI. Joint lending. I think you have been seeing in the papers, many of the private sector banks are jointly with NBFCs are lending gold loans and other smaller loans, where possibly 80% of the loan book will sit in the bank and 20% will be sitting it in the NBFC's books. Concept which we could not think few years before. One document, 80% in the bank's book, 20% in this book, 20% in the NBFC's book. And bank is not responsible. Bank does not have to see who the ultimate buyer, a lender is. They have to only keep a list. They don't have to go and see that person. It is only bank is dealing with this NBFC. This is joint lending. Next, banking at doorsteps, fintech companies, rampant in Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, etc., where gold loans are given at doorsteps. The fintech companies go to the borrower's place, they verify the gold, they get the documentation done, release the gold loan, come and give it to the bank, and then bank enters it in the books. Completely outsourced. Large scale outsourcing, your mobile app or digital banking, many of the activities are outsourced today. It is not necessary that you need to have a branch at all. All these things are happening controlled from somewhere, and today at the click of the button you transfer money today. Digital banking. Today, especially if you see last year, you would find that RBI came out with a instruction, guidelines or directions to the banks to establish digital banking unit. In fact, for about 6 months we were debating what does digital banking unit means. Is it end-to-end done digitally, or some applications collected digitally and then disbursement taken? This debate goes on, but it is necessary for us to understand what digital banking is all about and how these are getting into the books of the bank if you actually want to do a branch audit. These are the certain things which have development which have taken place at the branches, and we need to necessarily know the details of this, what this is all about. Try to read, because there are a lot of things which comes in papers also. Try to read and understand. Don't think that this is beyond us. It is happening to us every day. And you need to necessarily know before you actually walk into a branch, you need to know what type of lending, this type of retail lending that the banks are doing. new initiatives. They sell insurance, they sell mutual funds. We generally don't look into the other income aspect at all. There are branches, smaller branches in interior villages and other places where a substantial portion of the income comes from the insurance and mutual fund commission. There are officers who have left the banking and then said they have taken to the field. I know one chartered accountant who didn't want to sit at the branch, that she has taken to the field and she says, I am receiving more incentive than my salary every month by selling insurance and mutual funds today. So this is how the income is getting booked there, how it is done, how the income comes through, because generally we don't look at the other income side at all. But these all constitutes very, very important revenue for the branches. So we need to understand what exactly is happening. Now, what does the RBI do in the risk assessment review and what has been their findings? In the last 2 years, especially here again I say that, human memory is very short. Very, very short, and especially in the case of regulator. 31/3/2020, or rather 20 is also let it go, because March 2020 is when we had the nationwide lockdown. 21 was virtually the entire year was locked down. 22 also part of the year was locked down. And this risk assessment review, which the notes have been published now, are relating to year 21-22. 21-22, when major portion where there has been no audits, no physical verifications, nothing has been happening, and it has given rise to lot of issues at the granular level. Let's see what they are. Integrity of the data is very, very poor. Because people have forgotten that the banks were the only one which were functioning with a limited number of people, and the only instruction given to the banks was never to deny cash to any customer. Because during COVID times you had the containment zones and otherwise. So wherever a customer comes, you are supposed to do only the customer service. So as a result, data integrity got compromised. Second thing, they say even now several MIS reports are based on manual inputs from branches, and the manual inputs are wrong, the entire MIS is wrong. Even now it is happening. Internal inspections and concurrent audits follow structured pattern and not customized to particular branch. So this has turned a full circle now. Earlier they said the concurrent audit, the report was left to the concurrent auditors, and they said each concurrent auditor wanted to cover whichever areas he liked, and there was no uniformity, and the RBI wanted some structured level so that everything gets, or all matters which get covered at all branches uniformly. Now they have turned back and said it is not customized, you are just following. So what is applicable to an agricultural branch is extended to a branch inside a SEZ also. So they say it is not serving the purpose. This is one thing which is dead against us. Sample size selected for audit are not representative. This is one which they have been harping. They say you are giving a report where the sample size, and they are extensively quoting from our auditing standards and the guidance notes which comes about how an audit sample is to be selected. And sometimes I wonder whether we have maybe after a final examination we may have forgotten to read that. It is time we go back and start reading what is audit sampling, what representative sample is all about, because RBI has started reading, and this is one of the points which they have said in all the bank's reports. They have said sample size selected for audit are not representative. Consequently, the conclusions are also wrong. Your conclusions are also wrong. Next, effectiveness of compliance. There is a concurrent audit report, there is an internal audit report, there is an inspection report. The branch auditors or the statutory auditors for that matter, they say generally they call auditors. You don't look at the level of compliance, how the compliance have been recorded. Is it satisfactorily done, or is it that after 120 days you want to report the compliance and the compliance is made? why your reports do not carry any quality assurance or anything on the compliance which is being done, and how you have ascertained that the control systems or the audits in place are effectively functioning there. Carrying forward, quality of supervision by the senior management, especially if you look at some of the renewal proposals etc. which are going. Sometimes many matters are written in that. They would have even written there is a willful, one of the partners is a willful defaulter for another loan in another bank. Still the loan would have got processed. There would be cases where they have said the stock statement and the balance sheet figure, the stock figure and the balance sheet is different. Renewal has taken place. So they say supervision by the senior management is also poor. Innovative modes of evergreening. We will come to a little later. Especially they are harping on two things, on gold loans and on agricultural loans, which I will cover a little later. They say there are innovative methods. We all thought that post September 2020, when IRAC norms have come in and the automated system of IRAC norms came, every ill has been resolved. But it is not so. It is actually, they say, it is on the increase. Only thing is the modes have become innovative. These are not my words, these are the words of the RBI. Issues in automation. It is not that automation has resolved everything. In fact, there are a lot of issues in automation. In the sense, whenever automation works only if the manual input is correct. The computer doesn't go and take a record from anywhere. It depends on what is fed into it. And as a result of it, we find that the reports which come out of the automation, the quality is bad because the inputs are bad. So they say the issues in automation. We will cover a few of it. What are the issues in automation? How many of you know that the balance sheet that we signed for 31/3/2023 was not as of 31/3 but it was of 2nd of April? How many of you know? Do you know that the balance sheets that we have signed last year was as of 2nd April 2023? Are you aware? Or have you heard? Because I was the lone person who took it up and I was singled out. Are you aware? Are any of you, have you read anywhere that what we have signed is on 2nd of April? I'll just explain to you what happened. See, on 29th of March or so, the government gave a directive to RBI and RBI gave a directive to the banks saying that all government transactions up to 31st of March had to be put through and cannot be kept in suspense accounts. They said every transaction up to 31st March has to be put through. And 31st March 2023 happened to be a Friday. 1st April was a Saturday, not open to public. 2nd was a Sunday and 3rd was the day it was there. Now, the government said the government transactions should be put through and the bank system should be open. That's what they said. The government transaction per se cannot stand there. There has to be another leg. The second leg obviously has to be the customer. Whether it is a government company or a contractor, whoever it is, the second leg has to be there. Which means the only option to the bank was to see that until these transactions are put through, shift the EOD. Shift the running of the end of the day program from 11 p.m. to the time until all these transactions were put through. Next day was not a banking day, and only by Sunday afternoon all these transactions were put through, and most of the banks ran their EOD by 6 p.m. or so on 2nd of April. Now what happened in between? When you say the end of the day program is not run, the system remains on 31st March itself. So all the online transactions and UPI transactions which happened on 1st and 2nd got captured on 31st. Because EOD was open, because the system doesn't recognize. It will take the next day only when you run the EOD. And EOD is always run before 12 midnight so that the system automatically captures it to the next day. EOD was kept open up till 2nd. And it actually came to light for us when we are doing a branch audit. Because one of our assistants came back, three things simultaneously happened. One of our assistants came back and said, sir, the interest has been taken, we manually calculate some interest, some one or two test check cases in the advances. He said, sir, all the interest has been taken, all the transactions up to 31st. But there is one more entry which has come on the 31st which has not been considered. This is one side we got the alert. Second side, one of my clients called me and said, sir, I made a payment on 1st of April. My bank statement shows this has been done on 31st. These were the two alerts which we got. We started discussing. Branch people did not know. Because they never knew that EOD was kept open, because EOD was done, everybody knew EOD was kept open, they couldn't give an answer what was it. Finally, because we were the central auditor in Bank of India, it went right up to the IT level, and then they said, sir, it is a transaction, you would see that there is one more column there, it shows value date. Value date is dated 1st April or 2nd April. It is entered on 31st because the EOD was not run. Actually, this is a transaction on 1st or 2nd. So immediately my question to them was, at least 4 or 5 schedules are affected. Your cash and bank balance is affected because somebody could have withdrawn cash from ATM on 1st. It would be reflected on 31st. Somebody would have made the payment. So it will affect your deposits. It would affect your current liabilities, other liabilities, it would affect your other assets. At least 4 schedules were affected. So this was my option to them. I said, we would say that this balance sheet as of 2nd of April and not of 31st of March. No, there was not a single person supporting me, except the CFO of the bank. He understood it immediately. And nobody wanted to discuss this at the bank level or any level they wanted to discuss this. And finally it was resolved by extracting the entire data of 1st and 2nd, and the figures were brought out and they started arguing SA 320, not material. It does not, material misstatement is not there, so we would go as on 31st. But actually what we have signed the balance sheet is as on 2nd of April. So I am getting into the elementary matters itself. This was not done by me as a central auditor, it was done at the branch level itself. So we need to go back to the drawing board, start looking at it. I am very sure that earlier days, if something like this manually would have happened, we would have actually captured it. Today we are also relying, saying that the system is done by the system is correct. This can happen this year also. But now they are more alert. At least last year when I raised this issue, it went even up to the Reserve Bank also. This time the instructions have come last week. They have said all government transactions up to 31st March should be put through. And they have said for transactions up to 10th April, they say the banks have to furnish a separate report. And from 10th April, it has to be a separate report. It's an instruction to the bank only. And this time you see, 31st is going to be a Saturday. Sunday. 31st is going to be a Sunday. Right, Sunday. And the transactions are going to be, but if some government transactions, because government transactions, maybe that, Friday, Saturday, all these things would, Friday, Saturday, there is one more problem, especially in Kerala and all the 3 days are holidays because of Good Friday and Easter. And as such, Kerala government doesn't have money, so I don't know, last day some payments can always come. I don't know about other states and all, but it can happen this year also. Please be on the lookout. I'm very sure banks would have taken care of this, though they are not willing to discuss with us how you are. In fact, I asked them how you are getting prepared for this. They have said, sir, we'll come to it, we'll explain to you. But this is actually what happened in the banking industry for 31/3/2023. So we need to be very, very careful about all this. At least I was very happy that I was able to tell them the elementary matters and said, we are not signing the balance sheet as of 31st of March. One person in any audit or in any organization can't do anything. It has to be collective strength. And I will come to another a chapter which has been added in the guidance note, which you should all know before you go for the branch audit. So a lot of efforts have gone into this. You should also know. So end of the day is something you should be very, very careful about. Recoveries in NPA. So are very practical issues which we have seen at the branch level. Automated. What is the policy? First towards charges, interest, and then to the principal. System works. Where is the mistake? System takes not borrower wise, account wise. If the borrower has 4 accounts and a lump sum money is received, it will pick up one account, it will collect, it will appropriate towards the charges, interest, balance to the principal. Then if anything is remaining, it will go to the second account. But accounting policy is not followed. Accounting policy is borrower wise, not account wise. It is automated. Lot of mistakes were found out. At least at the major level we could correct it at the central level, but at the lower level we did not know because it is a system. The parameters in the system was slightly wrong. It said instead of borrower wise, it went account wise. Now how many places they have corrected it, we don't know. This is still happening, and still many branch auditors have also been reporting this. Account NPA, no operations, still some charges get debited. You need to compare last year's statement with this year's statement, last quarter statement with this quarter statement. Very elementarily you can find out that the NPF balance has been going up. Because NPA balance cannot go up. After that, once it is made it classified as an NPA, you cannot have any debit. It is a debit freeze. This is happening. And if the charges are debited, that is again not in consonance with RBI guidelines, which says in any NPA account, any charges incurred have to be debited to profit and loss account straight away and taken as expenditure of the bank. And if necessary, you can keep it in a memoranda booklet for recovery. But what happens is it gets debited to the borrower accounts itself. Date of getting NPA getting changed. Still nobody has been able to find out the reason for this, but this is the reality. It is happening. You just compare the last year's statement and this year's statement, you would come across cases where the NPA date has undergone change. So all not big things which I am talking about, very, very elementary matters which even at the articles level, if we instruct them properly, they can find it out. Percolation effect. Once an account becomes an NPA, all the connected accounts become an NPA. Now take the case of proprietary accounts. Proprietary accounts, one will be in the name of Gangadharan. Another will be Gangadharan Fuels proprietor Gangadharan. Bank would have created 2 sins. Percolation effect doesn't happen. It fails, especially in the case of individuals. System automation is there, but these are things which system will not understand. Agriculture working capital loans, I will come to it a little later because there is a big chapter in the guidance note on that. This is a big story. This is the one which everybody expects. And when I raised this last time in the bank's meeting, they said, they just laughed at it and said, we all knew this, now you also know, sir. That was the answer. Data integrity at granular level. not to the desired levels, banks also admit effectiveness or concurrent audit. Because these are basically not granular level data, is not something which we are supposed to see when we are going for the branch audit, but this should have been done at the concurrent audit level, especially when you are going to the branches. You just find out whether they are covered under concurrent audit, and if the granular level data is there, error is there, please report it that on the effectiveness part of it. Effectiveness of monitoring and compliance, you need to bring it down. In advances, rate of interest, MCLR, EBLR, n number of cases mistakes are there. Because it has to be manually input. It is not done. Classification of priority, agriculture, allied, CRA, infrastructure. Priority sector lending today, see, unless you have the Udyam certificate, it cannot be a priority sector lending. And every bank is lagging in it. Every bank is lagging. Because the circular came only on 28th of December. It will still stick in priority sector. It may not affect your balance sheet, but your priority sector lender certificate, etc. will get affected. Agricultural and allied activities. Agricultural activities is different, allied activities is different. IRAC norms are different for both. If instead of allied activity with agricultural activity is sticked in the master, your IRAC norms will go for a toss. CRE, that is your real estate. What is a real estate? It is not what we actually think. Even a builder could come under commercial real estate. Because the entire classification, etc., provisioning, etc., are based on that. It based on the data that is captured at the MIS level or at the branch level, at the data entry level. There are errors in that. Infrastructure lending is different from CRE. And there are, today it is not like one master circular for each of these things, there is a master circular. The number of master circulars and master directions are enormous today. Infrastructure, in fact, certain cases, the provisioning norms, these things, etc. are also different. Security wrong classifications. There are cases where tangible assets or even wrongly shown under, suppose there is a advances to against a bank guarantee or covered by a bank guarantee. The branches will show it as advance to banks. Is it happening? The entire classification changes. It has got impact right up to the CRAR calculation. Because the risk weight changes depending on which category of such a Schedule 9. And even if you are the branch auditor, I am telling you, you should be very clear about the schedules 1 to 12 in a bank. These have never changed. This will never change. Schedule 9, advances, it has got 3 categories, 9A, 9B, 9C. You should know every category, and every category is important. 9A is cash credits, term loans and your bills. That is how the categorization comes. 9B is secured by tangible assets, secured by bank guarantee, secured by other assets and unsecured. And the last one is priority, agricultural, etc. This thing. 9A, B, C, you must be very clear about. Because MOC should come in that, it is not happening. And there are even cases where the common security is given as a collateral. Common security. And in many banks what we have found is that it is allocated between various limits on a percentage basis. And if that percentage is wrong, suppose initially the borrower had say 3 accounts and the common security was allocated and he was given a 4th loan. And if this allocation is not made, there will be no security for this and this will go into unsecured. And if that unsecured becomes NPA, it will become a loss asset. And once it becomes a loss asset, percolation effect, the entire accounts go off. That is the time when you start looking at this is wrong. The other side of the error, the same figure, the full value of the security is given for all the loans. These are happening, these are there in every branch. So the account will never become NPA. So suppose you have a 100 rupee security for 4 loans, and if you write 100, 100, 100, he has got a security of 400. it would never become NPA. Or even if it becomes NPA, there will be no provision at all. Delayed valuation of collaterals. You would find that every 3 years you are supposed to do the collateral valuation, etc. We just simply say that it is not delayed or it is not received, sir. Especially even some of the branches when you go for stock audit also. Sir, stock audit, sir, audit completed, report awaited, sir. Neenga pona and report eppa varudhu, yaar varudhu, onnu paaka maata. So I used to ask, sir, last year report edha kodunga, sir. Adha mudiyirudhu, sir. Last year auditors paathiranga, sir. Neenga eppa kekkuringa. Sir, adu neenga appavum kaatirukka maatingale. Neenga vaangirukradhe mele thane vaangirupinga. Angeyum kaata maatinga, ingeyum kaata maatinga. You will find that the stock auditor would have made some comments saying the stock is not there or the quality of the stock has gone down. And in many cases the unit is closed. I have always taken a view that if the unit is closed, no sundry debtors, I will not take any value for any sundry debtors. Where are you going to collect it? And any perishable stock, I would say after 90 days I will not consider any value. Whatever be your stock audit report, I will not consider. These are all judgmental decisions people have to take going on a branch basis. And today above 5 crores, every account is coming under stock audit. Today the banks see to it that the stock audit is completed. You go to any branch, they will say, sir, audit completed, report not received. Agricultural advances. Harvest season changes from state to state. It is based on SLBC, State Level Banking Committee. So, a rabi crop, maybe in Karnataka it is 12 months, in Andhra it could be 15 months, in Maharashtra it could be 18 months. So SLBC instructions are very, very important. Advances for allied activities. Agricultural implements is an allied activity. It is not an agricultural activity. If it is an allied activity, IRAC norms is 90 days and not harvest season. To convince the branch manager saying that it is allied activity itself is difficult. But if you look at the agricultural advances, master directions, it is very clear. If you look at the annexure, they have defined what is agricultural activity, what is allied activity. Agricultural working capital. Remittance withdrawal on the same day. This is happening. Rampant. In many cases, it is very difficult at the central level to find out because these are 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 cases. So not big advances. Now the problem here is not the agricultural advance per se. If you come across, and how to find out these cases, your Excel tool and all will not work. You will never get it. They have cleverly done it in such a manner that it will never get captured. You have to physically sit and see it. You have to physically sit and see it, which are all the cases where, and it's a laborious exercise, you can only try it, you may get it, you may not get it, but we have been lucky. Sitting in central office, sitting in regional office, we have been able to get it. And actually this clue was given to me by a branch auditor in Visakhapatnam 2 years before. He spoke to me and he said, and he classified 149 accounts and he wrote a separate book on it. Actually, I have learned many things from branch auditors. Only thing is, they don't have the courage to write. They'll say, sir, this manager is threatening me, he is threatening me, he says I will not get audit. I said, you put my name, you write, we'll see. In many cases, finally we compromise and leave it. There are cases, this is happening here. Now the larger impact is not that. Okay, the account becomes evergreening and other things happens. We get into a greater problem. We are also certifying the subsidy claim. The bank actually claims 2 subsidies. One for the prompt payment, one for the fresh disbursement. Because agricultural, the cash credit advances, once it has to be repaid every year, and once it is repaid, and then only you will get a fresh loan. And for the repayment, you will get a credit, you will get a subsidy, and for the prompt payment, you will get a subsidy. this subsidy certificate is also not. We have, and in most cases, the subsidy certificates automatically get generated from the system. You don't have an opportunity to write on top of it, but we don't qualify it also. And this is not generally dealt with at the branch level. These are all done by most of the banks have got their agricultural department who is handling it. They'll sit on your head. But more than finding out the other one, and even in this credit and this withdrawal on the same day, if you go into the documentation, you will find that customer has not come there. Earlier, what they used to do was they used to transfer this entry. When we started finding it out, now they are putting cash slips. And cash slips, you just go and ask them, take out the cash slip, it is there all for you. The rest I will not explain, you go and see it for yourself. I have even said, if I show this paper, you will lose your job. This is happening. See how compounded the effect is. One, you are keeping evergreening that account. Two, you are making a wrong subsidy claim, and we put our signature to all these things. And the most difficult part is the loan amounts. You are giving me the slip. I need some 10-15 minutes more to complete this. Because I started 15 minutes late. I need that 15 minutes. Okay? So subsidy claim certificate is something you need to be careful about, because it is only a matter of time before they start looking and pulling us out. Look, in all these cases, RBI has come out and said, sir, in 90% of the branch audit reports, this column is left blank, or they have said yes or no. All these mistakes we have seen, we have agreed that it is there, this clause is left blank. And the RBI is now asking, how can you ever write yes or no here? You have to be descriptive. So please be careful while writing your LFA. Rollover gold loans. This is also a case where the customer doesn't come, you make only the documentation. It has been there earlier also. Many of the people who have gone there earlier also have not seen. But this is now what they have said at the beginning, innovative methods. Ingenious methods. You bring it out. What is it there? After all, there is no loyalty to any client today, because even your own client goes after 5 years, it is only rotation. Manager doesn't help you. Effect of this in interest rate in the case of floating interest rate loans. The interest rates have been going up now. They have not revised the EMI. So the number of these things have gone up now. Where they have raised the EMI, they have not seen the tenure of the loan. The tenure of the loan has gone. There are cases where we have found, Mahesh will agree, that people with 100, even at the age of 120, he will not close the loan. This is still happening, floating rates. Because for a housing loan and all, the maximum period is only 20 years. And if this change is happening in the 11th year, then you have only the balance 9 years you have to do this. And you cannot do it yourself by changing the EMI, because the easiest mandate has to be changed. You have to go back to the customer signature has to be obtained. This has to be a manual process. So it's not being done in many cases. Term loans for purchase of car and machinery. Even after 10 years, car value remains the original one. System has not been automated to take automatically depreciated value. Most of the time there will be a collateral or there will be some other loan, but if it is only a car loan, and if it is running into today, cars are there for up to 1 crore and above, you could be 5 years loan, 6 years loan, and you can't have the same value. The value is going down. Working capital advances.
The rollover of gold loan, can it be explained?
Rollover, you have to go and see for yourself how it is being done. It is being done. Now, how each branch is doing it is question. The documentations are made, customer never comes. Normally what they say is, generally when the gold loan renewal takes place, you are supposed to have a documentation that the packets have been taken out, verified and then kept back. So many of the cases where the packets have not been verified and the gold loans have been renewed is a pointer. And the gold loan frauds are on the increase. And in all these cases, you will find that the branch staff is involved in this. You need not go and verify the gold loans, but you look at the process. And I'll tell you how to look at all this. That will be the last point.
That to be treated as NPA, sir.
முதல்ல கோல்டு இருக்கா பாருங்க சார், அதுக்கப்புறம் தானே NPA லாஸ் அசெட்லயே போயிடும் சார். கோல்டே இருக்காது. Working capital advances above 5 crores, Caro requires that where the bank statement, where the value as per the books and value as per the statement given to the bank is different, auditor has to report. There are cases the companies or lenders, auditors have reported, branch has not seen it at all. If that is the case, what is there you have to do? You have to just take out, rework the DP and finish off. You don't have to discuss anything with anybody. It is there in the company's audit report itself. Now, branch manager doesn't know Caro, but we should know. And this is mandatory. We have come across cases. Large borrowers, 15 crores and above, compulsory bifurcation into WCDL and CC. This does not affect your balance sheet, but this is non-compliance with RBI guidelines. Especially smaller branches, this is to be done manually. You have to be a loan component. If you look at the circular, you will find that, first it has to go into WCDL and balance only you can get it into CC. Suppose you have a sanction limit of 1,000 crores. And his balance outstanding is say 600 crores. Then once you do this, he will get only 200 crores in CC limit because 400 has to be in WCDA. This bifurcation is not done in many cases. And loans above 15 crore can be there in many branches. Many branch managers will not be aware also. Permitting current accounts with loan component. You are not supposed to, where you have a loan account, you are not supposed to allow him to have a current account. But current accounts are still happening. Short review renewal. This is, you find that the circulars have been coming. The central level, so many points have been brought in, but the branches have found out new methods to get out of this. What is this? Every cash credit or OD account has to be renewed every year, and it has to be done within 180 days. If it is not renewed, it becomes an NPA. So many of the RBI has said that there can be a short renewal up to 90 days, and if it is up to 90 days, you can do it twice. Now the problem is not that. The problem is you do a short renew, and then how do you mark it in the system? In many banks, the system doesn't categorize between a short review and a regular review. If they just tick reviewed, it will calculate 360 days from there. System will not downgrade. They'll say, sir, system failure, sir. System should have downgraded. Many banks have now brought in. Union Bank first came in. When we brought this up, Union Bank said, yes means short review, R means regular review. And they said you have to take S or R. Went to the branches. Everybody has picked R. So he said, sir, tapats. Innocent. So, this is still happening. Provisions. You know that there are provisions outside IRAC norms. For a willful defaulter, it doesn't come under IRAC norms. It comes under a different norms altogether. And this applies even for standard assets. The question is, you are not making the provision at the branch level. But the question is, if there is a willful defaulter, and what is the willful defaulter rule? If you are a willful defaulter, declare as a willful defaulter in loan A, and you are a partner in a firm in loan B, then the provision is getting attracted to the loan B. This you will know only at the branch level, not at the central level. Or at least you can go and ask what is the system to find out. At least NPA they will have a control. Standard assets. I have seen many cases where review proposals, renewal proposals go, they will say one of the partners is declared willful defaulter by Axis Bank, so and so bank. Line is there, that is all. Next page. There is a provision impact on it. Fraud reporting. This is where RBI fights with us. He says, sir, you don't report frauds. And we go and say, sir, you see, our auditor's responsibility, our audit report is not intended to find out frauds. If by chance we come across frauds, we will report. So, dichotomy, totally the mandate that is given to us and what is expected by the RBI is different. So they say, sir, fraud reporting, you are not reporting at all. Because obviously institute has to protect us because you cannot be held responsible for every fraud that is happening in every branch. But this is a reality. Statutory audit not intended to detect frauds. This is where the early warning signals, the 42 early warning signals come. And the 42 early warning signals are there where it will give you, actually if you look at the parameters and if you start applying the exception reports. Now the problem in the exception reports is that this is a daily report at the branch. So if you go to the branch, there will be 365 reports. You would have filed it in a EWS report now. Yo, and the mula put it because it's a daily report. And the daily or Munu account law than and I'll tell you, most of these leads you will get it from this early warning reports because early warning signal is mandatory for every bank. Automation done for all the advances, though marking of RFA and reporting to RBI is only for 5 crores and above. Right? But automation is there. But how well you get it? Because normally this is available in the exception reports every month. Internal reporting left to bank's discretion, effectiveness at the branch level, movement of RBA and RFA and vice versa. You will find large advances classified as RFA. After 6 months it will be moved out. After 6 months again it will come back because forensic audit would not have been completed, statutory audit would not have been completed. These are not getting reported at all. Reporting in the branch LFAR. They also say credit and CIC reporting is not really. Off balance sheet items not looked into at the branch level at all. Capital to risk asset ratio. You think this is done at the central level? I have nothing to do. So the data comes from the branches first. Borrower category. Today your risk weight depends on the external rating you have, and the rating is captured at the branch level. Even in State Bank last quarter we had to rework in certain regions itself because the data has not been captured. Depending on the rating, your risk weight changes. LTV ratio, loan to asset value ratio. The larger the loan to asset value ratio, if you say gold loan you are lending up to 80%, your risk weight is higher. Loan is up to 30%, your risk weight is different. LTV ratio is to be captured at the branch level. Wrong classification, government guarantees and guarantees given by the bank. These are all written as government guarantees. Today, no government, even central government doesn't give guarantees today. Expired bank guarantees. The perennial problem. Expired bank guarantees. They say the period is over, but you can take it out of the contingent liability schedule only if the original document is got back from the borrower, from the person to whom the guarantee is given and cancelled. Until such time, this has to remain in the contingent liability. It has to remain in the contingent liability. Many a times it remains in contingent liability also, but it is not taken for the purpose of your CRAR calculation. So, if you look at fundamentally, you will start looking at the figure taken for your CRAR working for the guarantees and the figure that is lying in your contingent liability schedule. These are different, you need to look. undrawn balances in advance accounts. It carries a risk weight. Suppose you have given a loan of say 5,000 crores. 31st March, balance is only 2,500. Balance 2,500 should automatically come in the contingent liability schedule for the purpose of this one. Especially, most of the times what happens is the case of term loans for bigger, large projects where these are given in stages. When it is given in stages, the advance, the sanction would have been for 1,500 crores. As each stage is completed, you release the 300 crores or 400 crores. The balance has to get captured in the contingent liability schedule. This is not getting captured. Now, from advances we move to the deposits, generally ignored, which is turning out now to be a major problem for us. Inoperative account classification. As per RBI guidelines, if there are no customer-induced transactions in the last 2 years, the account shall be classified as inoperative or dormant. Instances have come to the branch where they don't do it. Customer-induced transactions has to be there. So whether the system works, you cannot look into every SB account and see whether it is a dormant account. But some test check, and finally, as Sri Priya said, some paperwork, what we have done in this, how we have applied to this. More importantly, what you write in your LFAR. Interest on matured unclaimed deposits. Most of the time in accounting policy, they say it is done at the central level. At least make sure in your audit report, it is included under items to be dealt with at the head office. There are many items which you say, this balance sheet, the following items have not been considered because they are done at the central office level. Make sure this inoperative account is there. If the bank's policy, accounting policy says it is done at the central level. So you need to see the bank's policy also. Because these are all freely available in the website now. Bulk deposits, you are not supposed to give differential rate of interest. This is happening. Especially branches which are inside your educational institutions, etc., where there are large deposits, where the money comes in as deposits. Differential rates are given, 15 days deposits or 30 days deposits. It is against RBI guidelines. No reporting is done. Re-KYC in the case of high-risk SB accounts, where there are no transactions, you are supposed to do it at least once in every 2 years. Is there a system at least? You need not verify that. But is there a system at least where this is being done? Because all these comes under one small clause in the LFAR. Whether KYC AML guidelines have been complied. And we gladly say yes. All these gets covered under that. Office suspense accounts, innovative methods today. There are a lot of accounts where they say they park it till the advance is given, it is parked in the advance account and credited to liability, or parked in the liability account and credited to office account. So many things are happening. Even though a lot of circulars etc. have come, even now a lot of office accounts are. It should not be confused with your inter-branch accounts. See, generally when you go into the branch balance sheet or branch trial balance, you will find there are different types of suspense accounts, different types of office accounts are there. You need to understand what are each type of office accounts. And you need to first identify which are all these accounts which can be used for this. Inter-branches today, it is centrally linked today, it is getting tallied at every day or what level. Inter-bank accounts also get level. It is other than this. There are many, if you take any branch balance sheet, you will find at least 10-15 types of inter-branch accounts. You need to go and ask the system, find out, take out the reports and take out the ledger and find out what are the nature of entries that are coming there. There are several types of inter-office accounts. Now what are the types of accounts which are coming there? Is it one leg is affecting a customer? That is where you should be worried about. Clause 20.9, list of accounts, unauthorized entries in office accounts. You go through the guidance note, it will give you. Adequate systems KMC guidelines, prevention, whether the following guidelines, based on the test check carried out by the branch auditors. This is what I said. This is what the LFAR says, and we gladly say yes and leave it. Look at this. This is one of the conditions of KYC. Master direction of coin includes whether the money is for illegal activities, what Priya was saying. Clean money. How will you ever know? We will never not know. Is there a way to know? Yes. Debit freeze by FIU and other statutory bodies. Many branches have got these instructions. They would have introduced a debit freeze in such accounts. At least that accounts we need to report and say. Because debit freeze by FIU is always on suspicious transactions and could be for unlawful activities. Because this happens on a routine manner at the branch level, but we never seem to ask for it. Now we come to the last portion, reasons for penalty levied by RBI. I don't know how many of you have seen Bank of India, DCB Bank and Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. These are the three banks where this has come. The penalty has been levied and the reasons given. Did not pay interest in certain deposit accounts as per schedule of interest rates disclosed in advances. Levied SMS alert charges. Invalid mobile numbers. Failed to reset interest rates in MCLR, as we said at the beginning. Failed to benchmark interest on certain floating rate interest loans and floating rate loans MSME to an external benchmarking rate. Failed to report inaccurately or inaccurately reported the data pertaining to large borrowers in CRILIC. Failed to furnish accurate information to credit information companies. These are all happening at the branch level. These are all happening at the branch level and heavy penalties have been levied. Now the question they are now asking is, why is it that none of your branch audit reports carry on any comment on any of this? That's why I said we go back to the drawing board and start looking at all this. The last one, IFCOFAR. See, I'll just skip this. You all know what is the difference between IFC and IFCOFAR. But what I want to say is, this is the most important part as far as IFCOFAR is concerned. There is a deficiency, there is a significant deficiency in material weakness. At branch level and all, material weakness and all, we will not be able to find out. Because it is at entity level we need to find out. But if the banks report the deficiencies, like many of these things what we have said, probably at the regional level or at the central level, you could assess. Because there are two components to it. One is the systems and controls in place, which are generally taken care of by the central auditors and by the bank at the IT level. Effectiveness of the system, that has to be at the branch level only. In fact, this is one which we have been saying, because now today you can report in a bank only if there is a material weakness. I don't think any auditor in this country will have the guts to write there is a material weakness in any bank. He will be killed that day. But at least let us try and build it up. Suppose 40 reports, 50 reports in every region comes with deficiencies reported. It could probably be an eye-opener on the effectiveness. It is like the olden days, they say, everybody in the village was asked to bring a milk, and one person thought, if I bring water, nobody will know. Finally, when they opened, they found it was only water, there was no milk. So don't think that, what am I going to do? Everyone adds to it. Though reporting is on entity level, inputs are good. Last one, drafting of MOC. Please be key documents. You can just go through this, what is it that I have given. MOC also creates issues. We need to have a look at all these matters, especially codes, multiple MOCs, multiple entries affecting all these. You can have a look at it. Key documents, what are all the points to be seen? Just have a look at it. Most important, SA 320. What does it say? Materiality. Even in SA 320, it says if it is an error of principle, there is no materiality involved. If you say cash and bank balance is wrongly reported, there is no question of materiality involved. You may have to see, if you say wrongly booked as bank balances, You may have to look at it. So SA 320 also, have a look at it. Where to look for. Guidance note on bank audit. I'll tell you, this is one of the best documents that the institute is bringing out year after year. Lot of research is going on this. Because I'm also part of it, because every year I get some of the drafts, some of the areas are given to me also. Lot of things are happening there. If you look at the branch audit today, the bank audit report, it contains 4 or 5 divisions. Section D contains master circulars 33 numbers, master direction 62 numbers, and general circulars 944. All these what I have said, you have to take only one book, or you have to access the site and look only one record. Everything is available here. What to look for in the audit. Illustrative list of special purpose reports and exception reports in CBS. I have also marked the pages where you can see. Chapter 10, agricultural advances. All what we have discussed here is discussed in detail. 90-day norms for IRAC norms. Somebody asked me, sir, this time it is 29 days in February. What will happen to IRAC norms? Nothing will happen. It is 90 days. Whether it is 29 days or 30 days, nothing will happen. Quarter is gone. Additional provision in respect of willful defaulters. As I told you earlier, standard assets also. KYC AML. What I said about this debit freeze and other things. Contingent liabilities and bills for collection, chapter 15. Entire chapter has to be gone through. CRIR, role of branch of statutory auditors. There is a separate 2-page report on what is the role of statutory branch auditors in this CRIR function. How that reporting has to be gone through. Certificate to be issued by SBAs. I told you about that interest subsidy and various other certificates. What was the auditor's approach? What is the audit approach? 672 to 675. You are supposed to have a common certificate covering letter for all these certificates. And in certificates also you need to see whether you are giving a reasonable assurance or a limited assurance. I'm not getting into that. You kindly see what is the difference between the two. There is a lot of difference between the two. I'll just say that and leave it. Illustrative list of transactions triggering AWS. That is also good. Now, I'll spend one more time on this. This is the new chapter which I said which has been introduced. See, this happened in the last year when the branch audits were going down. We were complaining, saying that whether there is a limitation in the scope of audit. And it went up to AASB. AASB was divided into opinion. They said there is no limitation of scope. If the number of branches audits is reduced, the central auditor has to increase the limits and then make it a point to cover everything so that there is no this one. But now they have said, if there is a coverage, if the branch auditor or the central auditor feels this is meant to be for central audit, it is a beginning what we have made. What they have said, if you really feel that information is lacking or the reports are not coming to you, you can still invoke chapter 20, limitation of scope, but they only say go through SA 705 and 706. Those communication with those charged with governance, you have to be very, very important. Before you invoke this, you have to write, and it is not to the branch manager, you may have to write to the next higher person. Branches have been alerted. We have said that in the meetings with the banks, we have said, if this comes, it is up to you to see it, we will not interfere. But let us be very clear of SA 705 and 706. It even says a branch auditor can withdraw from the audit if he is not satisfied with the limitations of scope. If you say some details have not been given, information has not been furnished. Till last year Revati had called me in one of the branch audits, she wanted to invoke this. Then I said, ma'am, I can't help you because there is no statutory backing. This has come into the guidance note now. There's a very, very path-breaking change which has come into the guidance note. Please read chapter 20. Though it is meant only for central statutory audit, it can be applied for a branch audit also. Making of the guidance note, it is not some research committee which is sitting there. As I said, the person called Dhananjay Gokhale, all India level, he is doing research through a day in and day out. He collects data. He collects, and so many people have, so many branch auditors have put in their experiences, and that has gone into this branch audit. That is why I say this bank audit guidance note is one of the best publications Institute has ever brought out. Institute continues to bring out, and they Normally it comes after the audit is over, but now they have made a point to bring it out by February. All observations which I took was from RAR also. Audit fee is no longer taken as a compliance cost. It is an operational cost. Operational cost means it can be reduced. Now when we ask for an increase in audit fee, they say if you want you do it, otherwise there is somebody else who can do it at this fee. So you are not very important. Our cost is very important. Change in peer review requirements from 1/4/2025. There are, even if it is an individual, if you want to do a branch audit, you are supposed to have your peer review. I see mixed signals. There are a lot of category 4 auditors, that is proprietary firms and 2 partners, etc., where they say, we are mainly into taxation work, why go for all this rigmarole, let us not do branch audit. Which means the number of branch audits is going to increase because the number of auditors are going to go down. But if you want to come into this, then peer review means your documentation also has to be careful. Reduction in the number of branch audits can continue to happen. Branch audit could still be relevant in the observations. And as far as we are concerned, it is entirely up to us how we read it. And finally, as far as branch or any audit is concerned, I would always say that Thiruvilayadal old song, Part1 Nane, Bhavavum Nane. I can always stop. You are the people who can decide on what the audit should be. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Veeramani sir, for flying all the way to enlighten us on bank audit, challenges and deliverables. May now request CA Prabhakar Pandithure to come forward and present a memento on behalf of SARCFICA as a token of our love and appreciation. Good afternoon and welcome back to the second technical session of Bank Branch Audit, Challenges, Practical Issues and Audit Automation. This session is all about Excel tools for Bank Audit, and we have with us the CA Vinodh Kothari sir. A big round of applause for Vinodh Kothari, please. CA Vinodh Kothari is a chartered accountant with over 15 plus years of experience in India and a passionate teacher and trainer. He is a partner of Vinodh Kothari and Company Chartered Accountants, Chennai. Fellow member of our institute and have a rich blend of experience in practice for more than 14 years. He is an expert in the field of indirect taxes GST. He is also the visiting faculty at SARC and the National Academy of Customs, Excise and Narcotics, Auditor General Office, Regional Training Institutes. Trainer for Goods and Services Tax GST. He is an authorized and approved trainer for GST by ICI. He presented papers in various CPE seminars, colleges, associations on various topics related to indirect taxes, Excel, GST, student motivation. He trained more than 20,000 chartered accountants and professionals on GST, Tally, Excel, Google Suite. He was the committee member of International Chamber of GST Professionals and the CIIT and CFO Forum. He was the past president of Association of Chartered Accountants Chennai and a past committee member of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. With this brief, I have a great pleasure in presenting before you CA Vinodh Kothari sir. May now request CA Vimal Anthony to come forward and present a shawl and a health bouquet to Vinodh Kothari as a token of our love and appreciation.
Good afternoon. I can't hear. Lunch time is still there. Lunch is extended by 45 minutes, no, 1 hour. My session was to start at 11:45 and now it is 12:30. Normally before starting any Excel session, I'll tell Excel can do your week's work into days, days work into hours, hours work into minutes, and minutes work into seconds. But what Excel cannot do is train in 45 minutes. So that is the challenge which I am facing. But in spite of that, we will try to just implement certain ideas what you can do in Excel. So many things are there, but all the things I cannot explain because of the constraint of time. But we will get some inputs how we can make our bank audit purpose Excel reports to utilize the best. So I have planned for 3 things. We'll see subject to timing. So how many of you are still facing trouble with the CSV file to Excel? Is it now? Most of the banks, I think that they are using Excel file. But very few banks, I think still are they using the CSV file? Yes, so CSV file, one small demo, I'll tell you how to convert into Excel. Second, what we are going to see is some advanced things in the pivot table. In pivot, little advanced items we are going to see. Third is how to create a dashboard from VLOOKUP. Because normally what happens is when we get the data of advances, again we need to check lot of things. So that how we can create a simple dashboard using VLOOKUP. And if time permits, something about Power Query, which can complete your works in seconds or minutes. So our first tool, what we are going to do is the conversion of text to column. So normally the data of the bank, so normally you get the data in two formats. Nowadays almost all the banks are being updated to the getting the data in an Excel format, but in spite some of you may get in the CSV mode. So CSV is the file which you get in the text file. So we have a raw data. Whenever you open this raw data, this is the raw data, that is the CSV file, advances file. Advances file which you have to get from the bank, you have to inform the bank whatever software they are having, whether Finacle or any other software. Tell them that you give a advance file which contains the CSV advance file. That is the file which we have to ask. CSV advance file. CSV, comma, separated value file. This is the file which we use it for the purpose of converting to Excel or text file. Anything is okay. So any of the two you have to ask the bank. They will give you a format which is like this when you open in the text document version. This file we are going to convert into Excel. So how we are going to convert is, just open this file, open an Excel. I am going to open a new sheet. Copy the contents of this file. Control A. Control C. Control V. So now this data has come. Don't worry about the alignment. Here the data is less because the number of columns, if you see, the first is the serial number, one old account number, new account number, customer code and the name, open date, AOD, and other date. But normally in many banks advanced file nowadays, you will get a column more than 10, 20, 30 column. So first you have to understand how your data is. So for that you need to go to the text file, original text file you need to go to understand how your data is, but that is also not always easy for you to understand. See, this is your data structure. Now in any text file, when the number of column is more, say here we have liability. In your file, if you have 7 or 8 more columns, then this will come to the second line. Don't worry about that. You don't do any changes. Just copy this, Control A and paste it. Now how is your data? Find out by the this one. Find out by the header. So first is your serial number. So we have to put a block, cut block in the Excel. So where will you put? You have to identify. Now here, this is the block where I have to put. And in this part, this is the block where I have to put. Then in this open date, this is the block. Same way LOP date, this is the block. I'll show you what is the block means. Then ROI and liability. Liability you don't have to put here because sometimes 10 crore value may be there, 1 crore value may be there. You just put little before. So this way you need to make a split and then you play with your Excel data, do some conversion, do some filtering, and then you can use the data. So our data is here. Now we are going to convert to the column. So we have selected the first column because the data is only in first column, not in other column. Go to data function. Go on the top, data. Can you see on the top? Next to formula, you have data. In the data, you have text to column. Is this visible? Text to column. This is the function which we are going to use to convert the text file into a column file. So before that, what I will suggest is remove the first rows, first few rows till the serial number. It will become more easier, otherwise the first row will be disturbing for you. So remove the first row before the serial number. Go to data, text to column, and then you have two options. One is delimit, one is fixed. So fixed means we are going to fix the data based on the block. What is the block I said? Delimit means like a character. Say one column to next column, if you find any character, some software may give hyphen, some software may give comma, some software may be slash, but here we don't have such option. Here only space is the difference between one column and the second column. Is this understood what I am telling? So if you have to put a block between one column to another column, then you have to select the fixed. If you feel that character is there which is going to differentiate between one column to another column, then you have to use the option of delimit. These are the two options. So which option are we going to use? Fixed with. And then next. So where should I put my first block? Block means splitting the rows. So this is my first block. What is that? Product code. Don't worry about this part. Your block should be based on this data. Okay? Not based on the row. Row is only for you to identify later on what will be the row headers. So where will I put the first block? My first block will be this. So from this to this, it will be my first column. So from here, my next blocking, that is will be this. So from this to this, my second column. Same way, from here, I have to go into right hand side. Same way, open date based on the every data. But what I have to be careful is when I make a block in the liability side. Should I make a block in the starting or should I leave a gap? Some gap. Give reasonable gap because this is 2 lakhs. There may be a loan of 1 crore also, 10 crore also, we don't know. So leave sufficient space so that you don't have a problem. So now we are going to put a block. So just click here. Before one I am going to click. That's it. This line is your block. You are putting a block between first column, second column. Now before the 40, that is the value. This is my second column. Move further. Open date is my third block. So name, see here the problem is code and name is given in a same column. So we are giving only name, we are not putting. If you want, you can also put it, but I will do it that in the second step. By second step, I use a delimiter. What is the delimiter? If you see here, the delimiter between the customer code and the name is what? Slash. So this will be more easy for you. Or if you want to do here, that also is possible. So just I wanted to show you how to do this delimiter also. That's why I have left that part. And then again I am putting a end. Then again start. End. Start. End. Why I am putting a space in between this? So that I delete the unnecessary column and my data will be little better. And then here coming to liability, I will give little sufficient space. Just click here. So if you want to see the data, just scroll down and you can find out whether your data is having any trouble, whether your blocks are correct or not. Now here you are finding a trouble. This trouble is okay, product total only, so no need to worry. Your main value should not be split into 2 parts. So next, and just finish it off, that's it. Your column is completed. So now your text has become what? Your product number has come here. Then the So now when you expand this, what is the problem you are facing? The number is come to a +1. When you try to expand, not dying. When I convert to text, not doing what to do. Convert to number. That is right click. Control 1, that is your format cell. Then number. Remove this decimal place and OK. That's it. So now your data is converted. Now I am going to put a split. Is this part clear? How to make the split? If this part is done, that means 50% work is completed. Because this is the most important part of converting into column. Any doubt here? Shall we proceed? Yes? So now I am going to show you how to use delimiter and make a split. So we have a delimiter in the customer code and the customer name. So I am going to insert. Whenever you are using a delimiter in between, insert certain row, sufficient number of row. Here I am sure that I need only insert columns, only 2 columns is required, but in spite of that, I will insert 4 or 5 extra columns, because in between if somewhere, some other delimiter is there, then my next data will be overwritten. So for this purpose, safety purpose, I am inserting extra column. So now this delimiter I am going to select the column. Where should I go? Data, text to column, and select the delimiter. Next, what is my delimiter? I will select others and slash. So once I select others and slash, what happened? So here you can see how your data is. Next, finish. So now your data is done. So here your product code is there. Now you can change the header and remove using the filter, remove the unnecessary row. This I am not taking because of the time constraint. But one more thing what I want to tell is, normally we use filters. How many of you are using Power Query here? No one. I'll tell you, very good sir. One sir is using. If you use Power Query, your life will be very simple. Without formula, if you want to work in Excel, it is Power Query. No formula, no coding. So using Power Query, you can convert this data again to your required format. See, normally what happens is, when we clean this data, what we will do, we will put the header. Then we will do the filter. In the filter, first I will select, I will go to select, and then I will remove this. I will select all the places where the dash is there, where blank is there, or where the product code is there. All these things I will do one by one, step is there. So whenever I go in a Power Query, each step is recorded one by one. I will show you a sample. And then if you want to delete or change any step, that you can do. But what is the biggest advantage? You change the source data, refresh, within a second all the work is done within a minute. I'll just show you a sample. So this is the serial number. Account number, customer code, name, so normal procedure what we do, I will select this filter, select wherever this space is there, go to the end, I will select the blank columns, I will select the balancing, I will select the serial number, product name, select all the unnecessary things which I don't require. and then select all the item. Now also data. So this is one method which you can use, those who don't know Power Query. So now your data is in a good format for you to work on. So this is text to column. Same work if you want to go to pivot. I will take another sheet and then I will explain you about the Power Query. But this part, text to column, any doubt? Did you understand? Yes? So this is one part. Let's see this. We now come to the next part. What is our next part? Pivot tables. Now in pivot tables, certain advanced things. And sum if, count if. Three things I am going to take. Now why sum if, count if? This is your data. This is a sample data of a bank for the advances which we have received from the Finac, that is the software. The report number is 331007A. So I think this Finacle or some software is there. FlexCube, yeah. Thank you, Praveen. So Praveen has helped me to give certain data based on which I have prepared this template. So template I'll show you later on. So thank you, Praveen. Praveen has helped me for this purpose. See now, from FlexCube, this report number is 331007A. If you are going to a bank audit, tell the bank manager that in your reporting, download this Excel file and give it to you. First ask which software they are using. If it is FlexCube, then this is the number. If any other software, then it will be some other number. So this is the Excel data they give. Normally, how do we work in Excel data? We put a filter, add additional columns, what is the criteria, and then based on that we work. Now before that, have you ever worked on tables? How many of you are working in tables? Yes? Do you convert all the data in tables and then work, or directly use the data? How many of you use it directly filter? Most of us use direct filter. Now you add a formula, then you drag it down and then do it. Correct? Try using table. Table is again little advanced version in Excel. Whenever you convert any data in table, it helps you a lot. Whenever you put a formula for the whole column, the formula will be automatically calculated. And whenever you provide a link for this table to any pivot table and you add additional columns, automatically this additional column will go to the pivot table, because table as a whole it is calculating and it is not selecting the area, how many number of columns, how many number of rows is not calculated. When I say table, it is a table. You add additional rows, additional column, it will be part of your table. So normally what we do, if I add a row or a column, then I have to reconnect to my pivot and then only I will work. Am I correct? But if you use it as a table, no need to reconnect. Just refresh and it will be reconnected. Now this is the data. What is the data we are having? Some circle description, branch code. I am going to remove the filter. Customer ID, product code, account number, mobile number, PAN number, what is the loan given, all these data is there. Full data is there. It contains the bank, whether NPA when it was dated, whether restructuring when it was done, what is the loan value, what is the disbursed value, what is the current value, everything, all the data we are having. So now, from customer ID, what will you find? What can you find from customer ID?
Accounts.
How many number of accounts is there for that party? A customer ID will be one. If he is having 3 customer ID, So advances needs to be checked only for one or all the three? All the three. So customer ID, based on customer ID, you are going to select. Now how will you know whether one customer ID is having how many accounts? One customer ID is how many accounts, and one customer ID is how many total loans. What formula you can use?
Pivot you can do for customer.
Pivot, yes, you can do. That is one method. Sum if. So count if, sum is, you can do it and then find out. So that is one formula method where you can use it and find out. This is simple formula, not a. But before that, this I want to convert into table. How to convert into table? There is a shortcut key, Control plus T. T for table. Control key and table. That's it. And enter. So just a second. Control T, anywhere inside the table you select Control T and just select below my table has header. So now the selection is wrong. Why selection is wrong? A is not part of my table. So I'll just change it B. Okay. So now this has become what? Table. So if I add any column, this will be part of the table. Count, account ID. So now what has happened? Once I add a column in the row, once I add a column in this table, this becomes part of the table. But in normal scenario, it will not become part of table separately. You have to reset any data link where you are done. So now I make a count formula equal to count if. What is my condition? How many customer ID and how many accounts I want to find out. Count if. Count if what is the range? I will go to the customer ID. And then comma, what is the criteria? So again I will select the same customer, single customer ID. Enter. What happened? All the formula is being copied. What happened? So this is the advantage of using a table. This will become a part of table. One formula you put. Now 5000 normally you will drag. Sometimes you will get missed. Chances of making mistakes are there. This can be avoided. So this is count if. Same way sum if is there, where you want to count the sum of whatever loan value is there. Sum of customer ID equal to sum if and then range is the loan value. So here the loan value is gross liability and criteria is the customer ID. Some error has happened. Okay, no problem. Sorry, no problem. Just I wanted to show you this. So now this is your data. So this is one part which I wanted to show you, that whatever columns you add, whatever filters you do, whatever reports you want to add, this becomes part of the table. Now we will go to the Pivot. How to go to pivot? Inside the table. Insert. Go to insert. And pivot table. Table. Range. Okay. Say I want a report. What is a report? There are different types of loan given. Different code of loan. Vehicle loan is given, housing loan is given. I want a separate sheet of different types of loan. This is one example I am taking. You can do any method wherever you want to do. But normally what we do the filter, then find out and then do all other working. So how to create a separate sheet within a second for the different types of loan. This is my criteria. And in that I want few data. What is the data I want? I want the customer ID. I want the account number. Third is I want the account name. What is the gross liability? And it may be NPA date or some other date we will take. 4 or 5 column which I need. So first what will I select? I will select the customer. I will select first account number. So account number should come into the row, not in the sum. When you select any numbers, it will automatically go to the sum. You have to go to the rows. Then what will I select? I will select the customer ID. See, the order is very important. If I change the order first customer ID, then the account number, what will happen, you tell me? I am changing the order from account ID first and then customer ID. If I select the customer ID, then what will happen is, if a customer ID is having 4 ledgers, it will show together one customer ID. But if I select account ID wise, then what will happen?
It will get repeated.
Each account number wise required. So based on your requirement, you can select. So which one we can take? We will take first the customer ID and then the account number. So this difference I wanted to show you. So first what will I do? I will select the customer ID and then I will select the account number. So again it is going to sum. Just click on that and move to the row. So here you can see this particular customer ID is having how many accounts? So the order of selecting any row is very important in a pivot. Then what I want the name. So I'll select the account name. Customer name, and then we want the gross liability, that is the loan closing balance. Then maybe NPA date if any. Then product type, okay, I'll take in filter. So these 3 did, but this is not a clear table, right? We are facing a problem. So what we have to do? We have to change into tabular format. See, whenever normally you select a pivot, this will come in this format. You have to change this to tabular format. How to change to tabular format? Go to pivot and analysis. On the top you can see pivot and analysis, and next you have a design. So first is I don't need a subtotal. Subtotal is come automatically. So I remove the subtotal. See on the subtotal left hand side, first column, subtotal, I will select do not show subtotal. Next, report layout. So this report layout I will change into tabular format. This is also still confusing. So I want to remove the button hyphen and all. So go to the pivot table analysis and you have this button. So now your report is somewhat better. So this is the tabular format. Is this clear? Is this okay now? Your reporting format, you can remove the quarters and all. So now this is one day. What do I want? This table I want in a separate sheet based on a product type. Because I want to select few number of housing loan cases, I want to select few number of some other loan, business loan. So for that purpose I need a separate report because bank has given me a consolidated report. Normally what we create a filter. Here also we are going to create a filter. How are you going to create a filter? You select the code. This is the product description. You can see this left hand side product description. This has come, but I am not going to keep it here. I am going to move it to the filter. Just drag, click and drag to filter. What happened? This has come, filter has come on the top. This also many of us know. We select one by one and then we do the filter and then give the report. But I want it a separate sheet, entirely in a separate sheet within a second. In case you want to select only few product items, say there are so many items, some 12-13 items, I don't want all the items. I want only few items to be selected. Then what you can do is you can select multiple and say I want to select say gold loan, Vyapar, vehicle, mortgage, home loan, some 6 or 7 I have selected in the filter. So this what I want. I want in a separate sheet. So there is an option in the pivot. So for this what you need to do is on the top go to the pivot table analysis. This is your pivot table analysis. In the pivot table analysis you have your pivot table. Here you have your options. Just a second. So I am using Office 365 original version. What is the version you are using? Is very important. If you are using 2007 till now, wake up. You are in the AI world. So at least use 2020 or 2016 which has Power Query. Please change it. Better I will suggest that use Office 365 which is more better. So one monthly amount is there and then 5 accounts you can take it. But I am finding it very easy, very helpful. Lot of things I am going to, it is helping me in doing lot of research in my Excel. So you can also use it. So the same thing, just because here the space constraint is there, it is showing in this manner. Otherwise if you have a 20 or 16, it will just select on the pivot table, you have this option, show report page filter. Show report filter page. Any type of filter you want to keep it. First select the number of items. Whether if you want full, then all the sheet items you will get it. No, I want only 10, then select those 10 items how we have selected and then just see how many sheets are there in the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets. Based on what? Product description. Okay. Done. That's it. So here see, this is your gold loan, this is your Vyapar loan, this is your Canara Bank loan. Certain realignment is there, that's not a problem. So how many items? So this way any type of filter, or one more option, this is all the accounts which you are selecting. What you do is add a column, select sample 1, sample 1, sample 1, sample, you first select it, then create a report filter and then give it to your bank manager. Now this is again one more thing I am telling it, all these reports are again filtered, it is not a separate Excel data. So here again you can do refiltering. Here again you can do refiltering, changes, anything that is possible. So this part is one part. Any doubt here? So you have to identify where I can make a control, where I can create a filter and generate these kind of reports. Even 100 filters within a second you will get it. How much time it took here? I have around 5,100 datas. Not even a minute. So this is one thing. Next is the VLOOKUP dashboard. See, normally when we see lot of data, number of columns is 20, 30, 40, then you want to see this account, what is the status, what is the type of loan. Sometimes we want that summary, only that summary. Every time we don't get the option to go to the system of the manager and find out the summary of that loan, then what we can do? We can create our own dashboard. See, whatever you create these things, when you use a table, keep your data one. When you want to do for the other branch, delete only the below the row whatever data, copy and paste it and refresh, everything will work. But pivot will not work. Pivot, that multiple page pivot will not work because we are facing some difficulty. Maybe I was in some mistake or what, I don't know. But pivot is facing some problem. So you have to work smart. Today time is very short. Whenever you go for bank audit, sir, 3 days aiduma, nalik aiduma, iniki pona onne sir nalik aiduma kepanga. So this is the speed at which they want the bank audit to be done. So using these things, only from advance file you can generate lot of reports. How? These are the tools. Prepare one template in hand. You know, one bank audit if you are getting for this year first time, at least 4 years that bank you are going to get, bank is not going to change. Some bank audit, so last year even data you are having, just convert and keep it, only data change, refresh. So these will help you save lot of time. So now creating a dashboard. VLOOKUP everyone knows. Yes? Hope everyone knows. Have you created dashboard in VLOOKUP? No. So this is what we are going to create. See, now this is our data. Time is 1:05. My time is over, your time has started. How much time I want to take, you tell me. Based on that, I will plan my session. We look up some 10 minutes. Power query sample I will show you. So that will be 10 minutes. Maybe till 120 or 25 maximum. Is it okay for you? Well, normally I try to complete my session by whatever time allotted. But Excel can work fast. I cannot work faster than Excel. So there is some restriction. And your mind should also work to that level. Okay, fine. One more thing I want to tell. Ramjayam sir is here? Left up, okay. So one of my CA friend has created a utility also, where he has posted that utility. Ramjayam sir is CA, he is a very tech person. He has created where you put the text file, it will automatically get converted into Excel file. So many things utilities are available in the market, that is also free of cost. Only thing is you need to know and connect with some people, technology guy, and then get those details. So this is our sample data. Now I want to create a report filter. So I'll create a new sheet. Account summary. So first date is, what is my search criteria, my unique ID is my account number, that is my unique ID. So I'll write customer account number, name, so I'll just take, I'll zoom in. I'll just take 5 data. We have so many data, as many numbers you want you can create, not a problem. You can create your own format, color, all those things are. So what is the data? My criteria, search criteria is what? The account number. Then what is the name? Once I type the account number, I should get the name, I should get the customer ID, type of loan, what is the gross liability, whether the NPA it is dated or the restructuring, anything is done, that data. Any number of items, and because of time restriction I am taking only 5. So what is the first thing what I am going to type? is the account number. So here two options. One, you can type the account number. Another option is you can use a drop down list. How to use the drop down list? Home. Data validation, you have to go. You have to go to data and data validation. In data validation, what is the value I want? I want a list. So where is my all account number appearing? I'll go to the source, select the source, go to the sample data. So this is my account number. Okay, format will change. So to get the formatting, Control 1 is the shortcut key. I use a lot of shortcut keys. I avoid using my mouse because a lot of time is wasted. So this is it. Now, if you type a wrong, why I am asking you to get the drop down list is, if you type a wrong account number, that means you will know at that point of time, say I will type in some number, it will not accept. So that is one advantage when I use the drop down list. So only if I type the current account number, correct account number, that data I will get. Now, what is the data we look up? Equal to before that, you need to add the column numbers. How to add the column number? So I am inserting 1. Hello, sir. Hello. So I am inserting 1 row and just drag it. Okay, copy this, Control C, Control G, paste special, and then paste special, transpose, OK. So now what I have got? These numbers I have got. So what is my column number? So I give a VLOOKUP formula equal to VLOOKUP, which is a table number. So I have a table number is 3. My table number, why I am getting the table? Normally, what is the advantage of table? For the table, a name will be created. Is my voice audible in the back? So for the table, the name is created. How to identify the table name? Once you go to the table, select on the top, table design is there, you can find the name here. You can give your own name also. But if you don't select a table, you don't convert into table, then what will happen? You have to select the range and again waste the time. Then suddenly keyboard will be done, then someone will push, then selecting down for 10 minutes and then you get stuck. So all these nonsense time, you can save it. So equal to VLOOKUP, open bracket, my lookup value. What is my lookup value? Lookup value is the customer account number. This is my lookup value. I will look what? Account number. Next, what is the range? Table 3. Just type table. You will get the table 3. To autofill it, tab. Tab is the key which you have to press, tab. And then column index. Where is my name? My name is in the column index number 5. So I'll give 5. And then comma, exact match. Down arrow, exact match. Enter. Yeah, sorry, sir. Yes, I got missed. Yeah, sometimes happen. Thank you, sir. Now XLOOKUP has come, so this things is again not required. No problem. So we'll change it.
Sir, in the table you have added that 1, 2, 3 count, no? So automatically it has to be included in the count in the table format itself.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 is only for our reference, madam.
Yeah, you said
It
if
will-
anything is...
It will no. Only in the last column, whatever you add will be added to the table.
Then this message...
Only I said last column. First above, last column, last row. Only two things will be auto added. If you add before and on the top, it will not add. Okay? So whatever you add in the last or in the bottom, it will be part of your table. Left hand side, that is before and after, will not be done. So I have to recreate this table.
You can use choose formula, no sir?
Huh?
Choose formula.
I'll do one thing, why? Because it is taking some time. So now, our name is in the fifth column. So here I have to write 5. Column 5 is the name. So one thing which I missed out is your first column should contain your account number. Same way customer ID, just copy this formula. Paste it. Control V. Control V. Now only change the numbers. So what is the customer ID? Customer ID number is 6. So F2 6, enter. Type of loan is, I think the last number. Product type, product description is 45. So just change it to 45 and then gross liability. $24. So this is one time work what you are going to do. Next time only just copy the sheet, keep it as a template and then you can use it. NPA date 31 and restructure date is 35. And 35. That's it. So just change the account number. This becomes your dashboard. So this way, this can be useful for you at that point of time. Just copy the sheet to your multiple staff. If they want some summary of what is the data available and they want to make any notes, this will be helpful. So this is one part. So next part is, see normally what happens is, when we go for audit, in the advances, certain criteria are there, which we look. First is we look at the criteria, more than 10 crores compulsory selection criteria is there. Then 10% or 10 crores, 10% of the total advances or 10 crores, whichever is that, thus those loans 100% verification, we have to do it. Then based on the customer ID, I have to put a total and then take the value based on that customer ID total to ensure that this criteria is covered, and I am doing my sample selection based on that. Second report what I have to select, advances more than 5 crores I want to select. Then advances more than 2 crores. Then various criteria are there. Asset downgraded standard, current year, last year. So some 8 to 10 criteria I have noted thanks to my friend Praveen, who has given me in a short time these details. So it has become very easy. Thank you, Praveen. And his guru is also there, who has explained him how to do this. Anand Jinnath. So both of them here, it's my pleasure. Thank you, sir. So these data, normally what we do one filter, and then it takes lot of time, and then you take this report. If I tell you that first time you spend some 2 or 3 hours, next time for the next 5 years use the same template, within a minute for all the branches you will get how it will be. Without any formula, without any coding. That is Power Query. So what happens in Power Query is, this data, your raw data, will be saved in a folder. You just change the folder, and then we have 2 files. One is your raw data, what you get from the bank, that will be in a folder. Second is your working file, the Power Query creation file, which we are going to work. So this Power Query file, I will ask the Power Query to get the data from that folder. Or you can even copy paste, choice is yours. But at this point of time, I will not suggest you to use this option unless and until you don't know Power Query, because now it is not the right time for you to learn Power Query and do this research. Maybe in the next bank audit, till 1 year time, you can take some, always my friends are there, you can take the help, 2 friends, YouTube Baba, Google Baba, and nowadays ChatGPT Baba. I take their help, you can also take their help and learn more better. So I have created one template. What is the template? We close this file. So this is the template, advanced report. So this is the basic data. Now, see, I am going to take the data from where? My raw data which the bank has given. But ensure that you have only 1 sheet in that. If other sheets are there, you delete it. That should be a master data. So I'll show you my master data file also. This is the data folder, PQ data, and this is my data which the bank has given. So the same data what we have seen. So we don't have a additional rows and all, only the whole data only, the table which we want to work, that table alone, you keep it as a raw data in a folder. So this data, or you can keep it as a sheet, and from this sheet also you can work. Choice is yours. Both the options are available. But I have kept it separately for some reason. So now what I do is, I'll take a new file. Go to data, get data from file from a folder. So what is Excel? You go to the data. In data, you pick up a file from a folder. It can be either PDF file, CSV file, Excel file, lot of different formats of file also. You can take even from online also, you can take lot of data. And I'll select this path. So this is the path. And then this is the Excel file which is there. I'll select transform data. Combine and transform. And this is our sample data. Okay. So now what has happened is, my Excel data is going to the Power Query. Now whatever filtering work we are doing in Excel, what we do, we remove the unnecessary column, we do certain filters, all these things one by one step is being created. See on the left hand side. Now what I'll do is, say for example, I don't want the source name. So normally in Excel what you do, you remove it, right click and remove. So I'll select these first 3 rows. Remove column. Right click, remove column. See on the right hand side what has happened. Remove column. So left hand side. Left hand side you can see removed column, 1 step is being added. Now I'm moving the account number, customer ID in the first. So just dragging it. Now next what has happened? So whatever work I do, step by step every work is being recorded and formula is being created. You are not doing any formula. What you are doing in Excel, same work you are doing without formula. So every work what you do, the process will be recorded. Say by mistake I have deleted the column. In your Excel, Control Z, all the process we have to do. I can here directly delete that line. No, I don't want this, by mistake I remove, that's it. My next conditions will be as it is. So this is the Power Query. And then I want to use this data as my base data and do all the filter. Normally what in Excel we do, one Excel file will be there. In same Excel file we use the filter, then change again, and then lot of confusion happens. So now my data is what? Only one Excel file, that is a master. From that I can use reference file and create multiple filters. So this is part of Power Query. I'll just given a brief sample of what it is. Now this, how I have utilized. If I change my source data, say this is branch of some Ainavaram, I am going to Arumbagam branch, he is giving the same data. What I have to do? I will go to that data folder, replace this file, open this Excel and refresh. Once I refresh, what will I have created already multiple conditions and all, and automatically these sheets will be updated. What is the top 5? I have not taken top 5, I have taken because multiple account number are there. Automatically it will be created. Same way, large advances, it will show me the report. More than 5 crores, it will show me the report. Advances, what is the thing? Automatic breakup without any time spending. First time for creating a template, you need to spend some time. You need to know this Power Query, then only you will be able to show. I'll just show you this Power Query also. Data, queries and connection. So you can see here so many queries I have created. This is nothing but filtering work. One query means I have taken the main source as a reference. Then in Excel we do filter, remove, condition, all those things. So this is one, second, third, fourth. How many steps are there? Only 3 steps. Source from my mail file. Second, what did I do? I have done a filter. Again I have done a filter. Done some changes. That's it. So each and every step, one data is created, and next time what I need to do? Only change the source file, refresh, 1 second, data will be updated. One more advantage I'll show you. I'll save this file, so many sheets are there, you can see all the data is available. I have not yet completed this sheet, just created 5 reports. So what is the size of my source data? 1.2 MB. What is the size of my source data? 1.2 MB. What is the size of my report data? Power Query data. 102 KB. See, in Power Query your data is not stored. Only whatever functions you are doing, that only is stored. And whenever you open it, it will collect the data again and show it to you. So this way what happens is, even your size, even whatever the main file may be, 10 MB, 20 MB, but when data is little huge, Power Query, some speed aspect comes. But if you want to effectively use Power Query, I will suggest that you use Office 365, then you learn it. If you are learning in 2016, 2020, then I will tell better don't learn. Because 365 has very advanced feature in this Power Query. This is for those who don't know coding, don't want to learn coding, and then you want to do certain reporting in Excel so that templates can be created. So using these templates, I have done a lot of my work, like 2B data you get. Then what you do, credit note you add in the B2B, then put minus, all those things. Same work I have done in the Power Query. Just change the 2B data, refresh. I'll get the summary of net GST number wise data, eligible wise data, ineligible wise data. So many places are there where you can use this Power Query and save lot of time. So thank you very much for patient hearing and giving me additional time of half an hour. Hope I have been able to help you with certain small tips in Excel to help you work more faster in your bank audit. All the best for your bank audit, and thank you very much. Any doubt you can take, 1 or 2 doubts, or else we can take offline.